Earthquake.
Try to get the seat lower. I think we're good. Yeah, but the seat seemed like it was way too high for me. All right.
Yeah, a lot of things did change. Anyways, hi. This is Not a Burger TV, where we open Kinder Eggs and play Fortnite.
That's the next episode.
Oh, okay, next episode, yeah. That's WTF Robbi. I'm Skunk Dave. I got him while he was drinking.
Yeah. You gotta stay hydrated. Hi, Kate.
That's the main thing. It's only about 100 degrees.
Oh man, did you see what the weather's supposed to be like this week? It's supposed to be like the hottest.
No.
It's supposed to be the hottest, like in the northeast and everything, and here. And I think that they said that with the humidity, which is like 1,000,000% here in Florida, it's supposed to be like around 104, 103, something like that.
Nope.
So.
You think it's easy to look this pale?
I mean, and you think that I got this caramel like I was just born this way?
Sure.
No. Oh shit! There we go. Adam's in the chat too.
What's up? Hi.
How's it going, Adam?
Yo.
All right. Oh, he has to go. All right. So, yeah. So, like he said, this is Not a Burger TV. This is officially our first episode.
Yes.
If you didn't see our intro episode 0, where we pretty much just went through the premise, who we are, and everything, you can catch that over on YouTube, or you can catch it on Twitch on the video on demand. Yeah,
we introduced ourselves last week. Just said what we were planning on doing as far as videos go, the podcast goes. Just basically having a good time. Talking about games, talking about things that can't be avoided. I did a lot of stuff about me last week, about family. Robbi, did you feel left out? Did you want to include anything?
From last week?
I was going to be the one who was going to overshare, but I was also like, oh, let me tell you about my family history. Let me tell you about everything. And I feel like I didn't give you a chance to be like, yeah, let me tell you about me.
Sorry, Kate's saying that you're a little low.
Check. Hello. Technical difficulty.
Yeah, no, it's just I had to show her which one. I had to tell her which one was you to turn you up.
I got you.
Okay, but yeah, so recover what we recap what we had last week.
Last week I did a lot of talking about like my family and stuff.
I mean,
did you want to? No,
I mean, I think that was good on last week.
Yeah, no pressure. I didn't want you to like overshare. I'm the one who's going to overshare. That was my goal.
We're both going to overshare eventually, right? And then people are going to be like, oh, that's who we talk to?
Close.
But yeah, so I know. So I brought up to Dave earlier this week that I had a topic that I wanted to bring up to him.
Yes, please.
And I tried to keep it not really keep it a secret. I just wanted to, not share with him until this moment. So reading the tech news, I came across an article that Flash Players is ending its support in next year.
RIP, wow.
So, like, for me, that's like a huge thing because that I was like middle school, elementary school, high school was, mini clips, albino black sheep, like
3brain.com. Did you do 3brain?
I don't think I did.
It's gonna be a lot of obscure references if this is where we're going. Yeah, 3brain had a lot of really weird videos like eating a monkey salad and just really absurdist memes before memes. That's sad. So you can't even look at
that's what I was wanted to talk about. It's like all the memes before Reddit, right. All the memes, all the videos
before they were even referred to as memes. So
right?
It's like, let me just show you this funny.
That was just a huge thing, and all the games. I can't tell you how many endless amounts of hours I spent.
Armor
Flash
games,
gaming, armor games,
games.
They went on. They started out doing Flash games, and they ended up doing Castle Crashers and a whole bunch of huge things.
A lot of games got kind of transferred over from Flash to.
Right, I remember seeing
because let's be honest, Steam doesn't have much quality control.
Well, I mean, I played Castle Crashers. That was like the first time, the first one that like I remember being like, I was like, oh crap! I remember these being little Flash game people. And now they're making big games. But I played it on the Xbox. It wasn't on Steam or anything. I played it on the 360 with you and Dave. You and Dave.
Drew.
No, with you and Mike. Yes. I played with. That's how drunk I was back in the day. There was two of you there.
Yeah, I like their sense of humor in that developer a lot. They made I think it's called Pit People on Steam, is like a strategy, gladiatory, not serious at all game where you could like hit people with a giant fish. And
was it kind of like Guacamelee? Kind of like that, like satirical
but it was
thing.
More like scrolling brawler than, I don't know. It's been a long time since I played it, but same idea, same company, the same sense of humor.
Yeah, no, but I was just thinking about, I was like, man, like all the games that like, I started. Oh, Salad Fingers
is going to be. Well, a lot of them have been kind of transferred over to YouTube. Like people have just kind of captured it. And I don't even know if it's the people who made it that are like, I have to make sure it's preserved. But although now, if they do care, they'll probably be rushing to do that. Like, this is my internet legacy. I have to preserve it.
But like, what? I mean, I guess like, what was like the first big game that you can remember playing like Flash on a flashing?
Honestly, I consumed them so fast that I don't really remember all the names. There was a card, kind of like Pokemon style RPG called Card Monsters on, I think it was on Armor Games and Congregate.
That's the other one. Yes.
Yeah. It was a really interesting idea. You know how, have you ever played Summoner's War, or these like phone games where you assemble a team and they fight? You're fighting another person, but neither of you is really in control. You're just watching like the AI play out your battle. It's very like microtransaction-y, very like the game I'm talking about isn't microtransaction-y, but I know it's so weird to describe to you how this game works. Basically, you have a team of 3 monsters that are 3 cards, and you can like upgrade them and level them up. And there's people have all these like, you have your offensive strategy for when you're playing attacking other players, and then you have your defensive strategy, which basically plays out automatically whenever someone attacks you via the app. I don't know, it's weird. You know what I really got into a lot of trouble on was Mobsters. Did you ever play Mobsters?
Yes.
Or Mafia Wars.
Mafia Wars. That was the one that we had. So it was, I want to say 10th grade. We had I guess that I had a, was it programming? No, it was web design. I had a web design class in high school, 10th grade high school, and what we had was we had our own network file shares that we could use, across the school, depending on wherever we were.
Oh my God,
so
you're me so many stories as you talk. Okay, keep going.
So what I did was I put Unreal Tournament on there, and what people realized was that, oh, you could do Unreal Tournament, you could put a whole bunch of other games. So people started loading up. I showed them how to, and that was one of the ones, Mafia Wars or Mob Wars or whatever. And it's just like that little screen that they hid in like the background, just like click, like sell drugs, sell guns.
Yep.
It's like
buy tanks. I was such a sucker for those games. Like first of all, I had a spreadsheet that I made in Excel to like calculate.
You were like min-maxing back in the day.
I was min-maxing because the more stuff you bought, the more expensive it was next time you bought it. So you had to keep calculating what your return on investment would be.
Oh my God.
It was really bad.
Why did you go to like as an accounting major or something like that?
I have no interest in that. It doesn't.
But when it comes to video games, then trying to figure out.
And it's being the best at an online game like that is just so stupid, anyways. Because like, gosh, like 10 people would attack you while you'd be offline, and you'd lose like $1 million. It's like, okay, nothing I can do about that. But I probably spent $100 or $150 on that game, and that was back when I was making like minimum wage. So it was like, can you imagine the dedication to a web game when you're making minimum wage to spend $100 or $150 on it? Yeah. I'm glad that I don't do microtransactions games because
anymore.
No, that's the most I've spent. I've played Hearthstone for probably as long as it's been out. I don't even know how long it is, 6 years maybe. Yeah, but and I've only spent like $200.
The thing with Hearthstone though is that you can go one of 2 routes. You could grind away get the booster pass, get the gold and stuff like that.
I love the incentive for playing. A lot of games need to pick up on that like model.
Or just have what
more?
I'm trying to think like $500-$600 to burn more, less.
Nah, I probably spent $50 like 3 times on one account and $0 on 2 other accounts.
I'm just trying to think like to get all the cards, and then also you need to buy. Like to get all the cards, to get all the expansion packs, Nax Aramis and all this. It's just like, oh crap, you're gonna have to spend a whole lot of money.
Some games do that. I think a lot of games that do digital, like Magic, if you get a whole set, you can send them like $100 or $150, and they'll give you the whole set in cards. So it's kind of like an investment that actually exists. Does that make sense? Like it's gonna hold value rather than cards you can't trade and like. Yeah.
Like so in the chat right now, Makoa Keo brought up his longest game, 10 minutes, longest 10 minutes ever. I'm not sure what he's talking about, but anyways,
I probably played that.
His favorite hero was Delirium. I never played that, but this guy is pretty much he and I grew up together. We went to the same middle school, high school,
Sure.
and he pretty much got me hooked on like a whole bunch of games. And he was the one who showed me, Newgrounds. Him and his sister showed me Neopets, and boy, did I waste time on those Neopets. Did you spend
money on those though?
No, I didn't spend money, but that's when I first started learning about back end coding and stuff that you could.
You're making me cringe so hard internally. I played something worse than Neopets. Did you ever play Gaia Online?
Oh my god, no! But
it's basically a bulletin board with like a weeaboo skin over it.
I've heard of it,
making posts and like checking out ads and stuff that you make money and you buy like little outfits for your avatar. It was so stupid. I can't believe I ever did it. It was so stupid.
Yeah, I don't think that there was like microtransactions in Neopets back when we were playing, but I remember like the hot thing was the paintbrushes, and there was a few games that I knew how to like look at the code.
Oh, okay. So
and I knew
like RGB code, hex code.
Well, no, it wasn't that. Like there was some of the stuff that like the code was wrong, that it couldn't accept a screen that was full screen. So like there was it was one of the games, I can't remember what it was. But pretty much you moved your character. Like the whole object was, it was a flash game, and you had to dodge objects flying down at you. And what you do is you go full screen
and just step outside of the screen.
Just step out of bounds.
That sounds familiar.
And you're there just collecting the points. So you get all this gold, and then you buy these paintbrushes, go to your Neopet store, sell those paintbrushes for even more money, and oh girl.
You bring up a good point. I've always wondered, when you look at the leaderboards for a game, it'll be like the number 3 guy has 2 million points, and the number 2 guy has 2,100,000 points, and the number 1 guy has 180 million points. It's just like, there's no way, dude. Like, there's no way that you did that. Like, that huge of a gap.
It's like some of the stuff that I look at. Some of the games that I play are really regulated now. I guess.
I should hope so.
So it's like Diablo 3. I look at the leaderboards for some of those, either the seasonal, what the highest achieved rift is, what the fastest time on a rift is, and they're kind of close. Mario Maker, it seems like now I'm hooked on Mario Maker. I look at the times that like some of the high scores, and some of the completion was, but there's some of the ones that like they're good. Like the space between them are like the first, second, third is like okay, cool. But there are some games that either they're new and they're not as regulated, and it's exactly like that. First
Slay the Spires Weekly has like a leaderboard like that too, where you look at it and you're like, no. I remember in Call of Duty.
Oh God, yes. Joe just reminded me of the game. It was Ice Cream Machine. That's exactly what it was.
Man, you guys are going deep.
And you were that little penguin Neopet, and you had to just dodge it left and right. You just had to dodge them.
I think I do remember this. The thing I remember the most about Neopets is these just awfully gaudy colors. It was just like assault. It was like someone took a Lisa Frank like Trapper Keeper and just turned up. It
was crazy because I played it probably into high school. I think I was probably into high school when I was like finally all right, this is enough. But I remember I would be logging in, there would be like hints of like, oh, there's this new world opening up in the map, because it's like it was like a clouded area, and like every day is like gets less and less clouded. I'm like, what's it gonna be?
In a weird way, that was almost like the first social networking for kids.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, you're there to be a part of the community more so than to play the game.
I mean, I was there to.
I have something you don't.
I was really there to learn HTML, because in the not really, but in the shops it actually had. I think that you could do custom scripting, and that's where I learned.
The first scripting they ever did was like in a MySpace profile.
Exactly.
Where they wanted to change their font or something.
And that's what it was. I had a MIDI version of ATCs all around the world.
I used to hunt down MIDI versions of everything just to have them.
That was the background song, and I remember learning the embedded tag and how to embed a MIDI file. I was like, my mind is blown.
I can do anything I want with the internet. Like the scene in Hackers where there's like a black screen with letters like swirling.
I'm in.
The same with the Matrix too. Is like it's just letters of nonsense falling in lines, and people are like, there's a hidden pattern.
At work, I have my laptop right here, my monitor here, and I have another monitor. So I'm like pretty much around. And one of the guys that works behind me, he comes by. He's like, "Oh man, you have all these monitors. I'm expecting you to have, the Matrix going down." And there's actually, so sometimes what I do is I'll pull up on on one of my desktops
Mm-hmm.
a what's called hacker typer, and you just do that. You just type and it like does like stupid stuff. So I'm like sitting there sometimes just.
I love in the Matrix too. Like, granted, a lot of movies do require suspension of disbelief, but I love how they'll just like look at a screen and be like, "Oh no, Neo's about to get shot."
Yeah.
It's like, what? We saw your screen, man. You don't see anything.
Well, you don't
like
read. You don't read the Matrix speak.
Yeah, right. You just become so aware of
Exactly.
it that you just look at a screen,
Exactly.
representing a 3D space in real time inside someone's mind, and you're just like, "Oh yeah, that's what's going on right there."
Right.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, like I'm trying to think of some
I
others.
wish I could remember the names of the games I played. A lot of this stuff was just like stupid, putting a hamster in a microwave.
Well, that was one of the ones on
E-Bombs World.
E-Bombs World was a frog in a blender, and I think that I was talking to Makao Keo about this. I think he and I were doing like we do a co-stream like Pokemon, and we were talking about, oh yeah, do you remember this? And I was like, just a frog in a blender, and you just like crank it up little by little. I was in 8th grade, and I'm just like
Edgy little kid, like,
exactly.
"Oh, I can't believe I can look at this." There's so many like just like one man made like baby's first video game flash games where it's like just the edgiest stuff you could imagine, like blow up Bin Laden, like kill a prostitute, but, just the worst,
but like
worst things.
Without like Flash Player and like the again E-Bombs World and all that, I wouldn't have found out about Group X.
Oh yeah. I remember a lot of those like weird old songs.
All their stuff was somebody.
Did you ever see School Bus in the Rain?
No.
See, these things are so weird. I can't even like sing it. It just doesn't mean anything to anyone except for like 15 people will be like, "Oh my god, it's hilarious!" Yeah.
But then also the Stick Fighters.
The Stick Fighters. Everybody's
the
seen
Stick
that.
Fighters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Everybody's seen Les Fires y Missiles. What is
yeah.
that? The history? No.
Yeah. End of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. The end of the world.
And Bang Bang Bang. I just want Bang Bang Bang.
Yeah, that was Group X.
Yeah.
That was Group X too.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just I was like looking at it, like, man, there was like a whole.
These memories aren't just dusty; they're like dead. I'm like, wake up!
You're trying to be like, I have the scene in my head. What was it? What was it? It's like, damn.
Just a lot of garbage like that. A lot of it was garbage, but I don't know. Some of them were so. There was this one where you're like on a castle wall, and it's just a click shooter, and you have like 4 or 5 different guys with different guns. And God, I can't remember what it was called. I spent so much time.
Yeah, that was the whole. What was that? The fortress kind of like building like a fortress, and you have to like mitigate like all the attacks. Tower defense. That's what.
Yeah,
like
you're right. That's
tower defense games.
Started.
Started with these Flash games, and then I think that it definitely blew up. But
I hate tower defense games. There's like 1 or 2 that are okay, but it's just such. It's a baby's first video game. Oh, camera's turning itself.
Looks like we lost the camera. Technical difficulties. Hold on.
Oh no, he did Gaia too. Oh dude, I'm so sorry.
Oh man. Do we have the camera?
Are we good?
I think we should. We good? It's back.
All right. Sorry about that.
Nope.
Yeah.
It's gone. It's back. It's back. All right.
Yeah, real time. Thank you.
That was weird. All right.
He did Gaia too, he said. I feel so bad for anyone else who did it. Like, for my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, to have done it, it's kind of like, yeah, I understand. It's basically dressing up a digital doll that's in anime style. And, like, for, a teenage girl, it's like, okay, you get a pass, but for a teenage guy, it's like, what are you thinking, dude? What are you thinking? What are you doing with your life? And they made you click on links, too. Just, like, they're advertising nonsense. Jumping through hoops just to get like, gold coins.
You can't see us, Joe? Sorry. Hold on. And we should be back.
Check.
All right.
Weird that this would happen on episode 1 and not on episode 0. That was the whole point of doing 0. it's going to be a work in progress for a while anyways.
God,
Let's just be real.
I don't know what the hell happened. It just randomly decided to close itself. Anyway.
Where were we?
Tower
defense games are garbage. It's a genre full of baby's first video game. Just whatever kid made basic assets from some asset store, smash it together, put it on the Steam store for $5, and there's just so much of that garbage. I wish Steam had more than 12 filters, because I've literally filtered out every single thing I can think of, and they won't let me filter anymore. It's like trains, VR, just so much garbage.
Trains.
Like, I love indie games, but I have to leave the indie game.
You don't
open.
want Euro Truck Simulator 2020 when that comes out?
But at least that's not like some stupid 2D, Microsoft Paint game. Like, there's so much of that out there. You remember that guy that tried to sue people for leaving bad reviews on Steam, and they basically banned him for life? Oh man, it was such a big stink. I forget what the name of the company was called, but I'll find it and put a link in the description. But it was atrocious. This guy was just basically taking stuff from the asset, the Unreal Store.
Oh yes. I do remember that.
He just considered himself a true game developer.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. I've messed with Unreal. I've messed with Game Maker Studio and Unity. Mm-hmm. I've messed with those, and sometimes they have like pre-built stuff.
Yeah,
it's
like $1 for an AK.
It's like, okay, I want to make a first-person shooter, and it puts you in this world. Like, hey, here's a first-person shooter realm. So like you could just
tweak it up.
Exactly. And people take the shortcut by doing that.
The HUD will be like Times New Roman, like health 100.
At least it's not 10. Comic Sans.
Yeah, Comic Sans. I think, is there a way to like just get rid of Comic Sans forever? There's probably a change.org petition that's like, we just don't need Comic Sans anymore.
Just Comic Sans cease to exist.
Yeah, even just to use it ironically. I've seen on a police car to protect and serve in Comic Sans. So it's almost like, is that a joke? Like,
yeah, you can't take something serious when it's in Comic Sans,
exactly.
Right?
It's almost like they're doing it on purpose, like to protect and serve.
So Dave, when I die, I want you to, my tombstone, all Comic Sans. And I want you to have like a banner that says "Rest in peace, Robbi," in Comic Sans and everything.
Rest in peace, LOL.
Everything Comic Sans.
What's the best tombstone head engraving you've seen? Headstone engraving.
I don't know. Probably it's not one of the real tombstones, but one of the ones from the Haunted Mansion at Disney.
Works for me.
They're like real sarcastic.
I saw one that was actually real on a tombstone that someone shared a picture of. That's like, I told you I was sick.
Yeah. That's like, I think that's one of the ones from Haunted Mansion.
So,
it was. I told you I was sick.
It became a thing, and then they used it. That makes sense.
You knew that I was gonna go with that one. You knew I was gonna go with the Haunted Mansion.
Oh, you go there often enough. I feel on the one hand, you have to be like, we're not from Florida because we want to be a little more global and appeal, but at the same time, you're like, man, Florida is just so juicy. Like, let's talk about Disney. Let's talk about Florida Man.
Is that Florida Man? In one of my Discord channels that I'm in, Ostbug, one of his moderators changed my name to Florida Man. So I started typing. I'm talking, and I was like, What? Who changed my nickname? I was like, I'll take it. I accept my new title of Florida Man.
I did a lot of things as a kid that I didn't realize would be like timeless Florida stories when I grew up. But there was a creek that we had to cross to go play in the woods, and it was occasionally full of gators, and we had to peg them with oranges to get them to leave. And I was like, is this literally the most Florida thing?
That's the most Florida thing I've ever heard.
A bunch of kids throwing oranges at gators
to get into a creek.
To cross a creek.
Yes. Well, yeah, that is definitely the most Florida thing ever.
I never, when you're at the time, you don't think about it, but I'm like, yeah, that's...
Just while I get back to the topic about like the Flash games and all that, how about earlier than that? Did you ever play, the text-based...
I did.
Not the text-based on like command line or anything like that.
MUDs.
But
multi-user dungeons? MUDs? You never played a MUD? They were like the first
okay,
online,
no.
Arguably the first massively online games were text-based.
Like there were some that were made out of JavaScript and stuff like that. So there were a few that
I haven't played a game in Java, no.
There was one that Makoto Ko got me into, was Nexus, I believe was the name of it. It was
interesting.
Pretty much not JavaScript, but it was all HTML based. And it was like a
hack. Is it?
No. But it was you were pretty much playing a soldier from, StarCraft, and you had to go around like, you know, oh, you want to go to this layer, you want to go there, and you fought Zerglings, Hydralisks, Ultralisks,
But the combat
Mutalisks.
is almost like RPG, right?
Right, you
It's
just
like
kept
attack
clicking.
for 9 damage. And
Exactly.
It's like he attacks you, he misses.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
actually, you're waking up these old memories. I was in a kind of like exclusive role-playing game group of that did Mega Man, where everyone was like a Wily robot or a Dr. Light robot, and you had your character sheet almost like Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh my god.
Yeah, there's some obscure crap out there.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, pretty much the first role-playing game that I got into was oh man, what was it? Tenchi Muyo.
Oh, I didn't even know. Man, that's so obscure. Most people don't even know what Tenchi is. Yeah, I love
Tenchi Muyo. I love
the movie where he has like the lightsaber.
Sci-Fi City, and this is when I was doing Pokemon cards, and they had a Tenchi Muyo book. I was like, oh my god! I like read.
They have a Super Nintendo game of Tenchi Muyo.
Do they?
It's like a tactics RPG.
Oh, don't even get. I was about to go there, Joe. So, besides that, Nexus, because you know I spent like that was. Middle school. This is during middle school when NetNexus and this other one that he just mentioned was QRPG.
Yeah, you guys are way out there. I don't even know what that is.
So QRPG, they had 2 different sides. They had one that was Dragon Ball characters and one that was Gundams. So you could choose one of them, and you could, you know, you pick your Dragon Ball character. So you could be Goku, Vegeta, Trunks, like a whole bunch of people. Or, you know, then they also had the Gundam one where you could pick whatever Gundam. And I think it was all just Mobile Suit Gundam. So you had to pick Wing Zero, Death Scythe, Sandrock, those. But yeah, it was just the same exact thing where it was you go to like the shop.
And there's like a little like mini map, but it's all like text.
No, it's not. No? There was no mini map. It was just buttons, and depending on go to shop, and then the buttons change to do you want to buy this, buy that, blah blah blah, and then it's like leave shop. It's like do you want to go?
So use the mouse.
Yeah, you just clicked. It was a website that you just.
See, I thought you were going in the direction. Are you familiar with Mythic Entertainment?
Yes.
They made Dark Age of Camelot.
Yeah,
like MMOs, like EverQuest type stuff.
Never played it, but I know what you're talking about.
Their first game before that was a completely text-based MMO that had a subscription fee and everything, just like MMOs that you know. And it would be like you're in a room, you can go east, northeast, and you move, and then it'll tell you what's in that room, what items are on the ground.
So that's kind of like the Shadowgate. I don't know if you played Shadowgate. Yeah,
exactly.
It was pretty much like that. You walk into a room, you got to look at
right
door,
but
that's not. It was not texting.
It had a triple faction PvP like planet side, so you'd literally be like, it'd look like StarCraft competitive because you're hitting the command so fast. You're like attack, heal, move, attack, cast a spell, run, heal. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's weird.
Yeah, and never played that. I mean,
these are like just the dregs of internet.
But like, I think that's like pretty much what got me into like some RPGs in like a text-based sense, because like I said, they were just simple websites that were all JavaScript backend or just HTML backend that they had just stuff like that. And there was one in our middle school, I think there were probably only 4 computers in the lunchroom, and it was pretty much first come first serve. If you didn't get it, and like like I would scarf down my food so fast and go straight to the computers. There was one time that the QRPG servers went down and everything reset, and it just so happened that it reset while we were at lunch.
So you're like,
so I was one of the first one in there. Yeah. I was exactly, and I just started grinding, and it's sad because it's just one day just completely disappeared. I've not found anything comparable to it. I found nothing that's like even anywhere close. It's like, we live in this world that I could like, if I want to buy a VR headset, I can engulf myself. Right. But that's what I want. I just want a simple text-based website that I can just click buttons. And I've gone back to NetNexus and I've lost myself for like hours. Yeah. And I'm just like,
it's funny that there was this weird period from like the 90s to the early 2000s where it was actually expensive to run a server. So if it wasn't making any money, they would just shut it down. Right. Now you can get, a Minecraft server, with your lunch money or like, an Amazon.
Is that what you do?
No, I'm just saying servers
you spend your lunch money?
As the power of computers goes up, the real estate on a server is like nothing. So yeah, these things would probably still be around if they had just kind of like made it a couple more years to close the gap.
Well, Joe, you say that no screenshots or anything. However, if you go to the Wayback Machine, that Internet Archive thing, if you go and you type in qrpg.com.net, I can't remember which one it was, you could actually see the home page. You can't go further than that because of all the server-side scripting, but you could get that, and that's pretty much it. And I just wish that I can, like I said, go back and find something comparable to that, because I know NetNexus is still running. How and why, I do not know, but I know nobody's playing it because I log in, I try to look at the leaderboards, and it's like hasn't changed in God knows how long.
That's crazy. Have you ever played any of those games? You know those phone games where you have a kingdom and everything's on a timer and you build up your kingdom and you ally with other kingdoms and you raid your neighbors and stuff like that? Is it Clan Wars? It's not Clash of Clans, but it's something like that.
Yeah, no, I never played it, but I've seen
I played
people
like
playing
the early ones that were all text-based on the internet where it's like, you're orcs, you're elves, you're raiding each other. How many barracks do you want to build? How many spies do you want to send? But
yeah, I can't
remember what a lot of this stuff is called. So
it's kind of like Warcraft, but dumbed down. I feel like
pretty much, yeah. It's just math wars when it comes down to it. And then you hit a point where like to get above 100%, you have to start paying real money. So it's kind of like, who cares?
Yeah, that is what it was. It was battle RPG before it changed to QRPG. But yeah,
it sounds familiar, but I'll have to Wayback Machine it.
Yeah, I'll show you. I'll show it to you. I don't think they have much of the graphics anymore, but it was just the sprites of the sprites of Dragon Ball Z characters or Mobile Suit Gundam characters, and you just fought and just leveled up and you powered up, and you can actually battle. I remember too. You can actually challenge somebody. You can actually,
if they're online and you're online in real time.
Yeah, exactly. It would send them a message, and then it would be like, okay, I accept it. It's like boo boo boo. And just refresh and just continuously refresh.
Gotcha. Did you ever play the man? I can't remember what half these games are called. There's a zombie game where it starts out with 100 players or 200 players, and every time a player dies to a zombie, they turn into a zombie. So you have to basically when you log off for the night, your character's still there. So you have to be like in a fortified building or something to.
No, I never played that.
These are all just.
That sounds interesting.
Ancient internet games like web based or text based or both.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think other like more modern ones. One of the ones that I guess not really lost myself in, but I kept up. Did you ever do was it Idle Quest?
I hate idle games. To me, it's like two opposites.
Well,
it's like
it was fun because it was a couple of us at one of my old jobs. We would all pull it up when we started our shift and just let it run.
I don't get it. The whole point of game is like playing it, controlling it, having input.
Oh, geez, yes. Sorry, go on.
Oh yeah, it's Counter-Strike on Flash. Yeah, that was awful.
Did you ever play the
terrible.
2D Counter-Strike? It was the
terrible.
top down. You could see like a cone in front of you.
It was just dust, right?
They had dust. I think they had Aztec.
I'm cringing so hard inside. It's like I can't play the real thing when I'm at school, but I can play this.
It was fun.
I mean, when you're a kid, it was fun. Exactly. Right. I'm being too hard on.
Because I mean, you're an old man, so you were out of school when I was still in diapers. No, I'm kidding. You're not that much older than me. But it was obviously the computers at the school did not have the graphics. The fact that
one computer in my school's that had a graphics card that was in TV.
Like
production.
when we were in. Was it middle school? Yes, it was middle school. So when it was middle school, we got into Star Siege Tribes.
I love Tribes.
And we had that. I was surprised that me thinking about it now, how those computers ran Star Siege Tribes. So and there were some of them that we knew, like whenever we would stay after school and play Tribes, there were a couple computers that you didn't want to touch. So you were like, But and then later on, was it Unreal Tournament 2K? I can't remember what it was. Unreal Tournament, when it was on the high school, when I put on the high school computers and we were all playing networked. Again, I look back, I'm like, how did those computers ever handle those things? And that's why we played Flash games, because we knew these things weren't beefy enough to play whatever we wanted to play.
There was something about like Half-Life 1 engine that it was 3D, but it didn't really run like a 3D game. Like you could run it on crappy computers and a crappy resolution, and it would run fine and it would run great.
Yeah.
I used to stay after school to play Team Fortress, of course Counter-Strike, but a lot of the problem wasn't the computer you're running it on at school. It was the net. They had so many ports blocked. There were so many weird workarounds you had to do. Like some games worked, some games didn't.
Yeah.
Some servers you could connect to, some servers
couldn't. That's when I learned about port forwarding and all this networking and stuff. Because back in the day when we would play Diablo, the Diablo Battle.net edition, or
Diablo 2?
No, Diablo 1 Battle.net edition.
Okay.
Or Diablo 2, you know.
Yeah, I guess Diablo 2 was
and we were trying to connect. Me and Makoa Keo, we all tried to connect. I was like, well, why can't I open this up? And I was like, Mom, I need to get into the router.
Oh my gosh. We used to connect two computers with a phone cord to play Blood or Quake, like the original 3D shooters.
Well, did you ever use the Hamachi?
Yes, I used Hamachi.
Yeah.
There's a new thing that you can use that spoofs two people sitting at the same computer with two controllers. Parsec. Pretty cool. You can take like a game, do you have Wizard of Legend on Switch?
No.
Anyways, Wizard of Legend, sweet game.
I should check it out.
You're in a party and it spoofs that they're sitting with you, connecting their controller to your computer. So you're playing a 2-player, whatever game you want, like any console game or Steam game.
Interesting.
And it'll make the sound like you connected another controller, detected hardware, but it's and the lag is non-existent.
I'll have to look that up.
Networking.
Yeah, I mean, technology now it's crazy. Where I sometimes I'll go over to my parents' house sometimes, and whenever me and my dad we have to go out for a fight in another state or something like that, I'll stay at my parents' house, and I just load up my laptop that doesn't have any kind of power or anything like that.
Sure, that was my laptop too.
And I could stream it now from NVIDIA just
right. Do the
whatever game I want to play.
Lag,
yeah, exactly.
You can do it from your phone now too.
Yeah, I mean that's what this tablet is too. I could do. I could pull up NVIDIA servers and just play my game like that. It's nuts that you could do stuff because we were there was so much lag between him and I playing or stuff.
56K was when I played Ultima Online on 56K and my friends had cable. I'm mounted on a horse and they're on foot. And I'd be losing packets, and they'd be out
rubber banding back and forth.
Exactly. Oh, so terrible.
Yeah.
So, the opposite end of the coin, as good as technology is now, I'm thinking of a story. The worst thing I ever did learning computers was take an EXE of a game from a friend's computer, copy it to a disk, take it to my house, copy the EXE into my computer, open it, and go, why didn't that work?
There were so many times that I did. Yes, absolutely.
I think you and I are both pretty computer savvy. You obviously are more.
Now we are.
but it's because we went at it completely cold and taught yourself, right? You just explored how things worked and kind of messed with it until it worked. And now everybody comes to you and asks you to fix everything.
Ugh,
basically your whole family. That's one. I don't know if this is edgy or depressing, but it's that's one of the benefits of everybody being dead is that they don't need you to take 17.
Dave, you can't. You still can't be pulling that on me. It still makes me feel bad.
So one time I went to my mom's computer and there was literally half of her web browser was toolbars that had installed themselves. The whole top half of the screen was
installed themselves.
Yeah, right. Just nonsense. Just Yahoo. And every other stupid company had their own toolbar that they wanted on your Windows 95.
And they had the bonsai buddy in the corner.
Yep. Did you ever get him to say inappropriate things?
No, I never did.
Oh, man. We had so much fun with that.
I never had bonsai buddy. Like that. That was one thing I knew not to. Yeah, I think that after the Elf Bowling, I don't know. You remember Elf Bowling?
No, I don't.
You don't remember Elf Bowling?
All I can think of is Ski Free when you tell me Elf Bowling.
Oh, Ski Free. That was a good one. But no, yeah, Rocktism. Totally try it. You could just put Doom on your smartwatch. It'll work. I've seen people do it actually. And there was a whole article that I read about how people get Doom running on stuff, and it was nuts. It's real in depth. But so Elf Bowling was this little flash game that came out. I want to say 2001, 2002. No, it had to have been 1990s. It was the late 90s, early 2000s, and it was just a little executable that it was. You played Santa and you're bowling and you're hitting down elves who are the pins. Well, that apparently had an embedded virus. Yeah, had an embedded virus. So once my mom and dad found out about it, because my mom had always worked for the government, and they were told about it, and they're like, do not install it. And once,
too late.
Well, no, I never installed it.
Okay.
I had friends I think that Joe actually installed it, but he 1998, yeah, cool. So it was late 90s. I saw people play it, but yeah, it's just like, man. Once I saw that, I was like, I'm not downloading stuff. And then I got introduced to Napster and Kazaa, and I introduced my computer to AIDS.
You have to weigh your desire for free stuff against your fear of infection.
Oh yeah, no, it's just like, what? Linkin Park executable?
Yeah. I mean,
for
the most part, if you have any over-the-counter virus protection, that's enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I one time had a ransomware pop up where it's like, we've locked out your computer. Here's a picture of you. Oh no!
So that was elf bowling right there.
I've never seen that.
And what you could actually do is you could actually hook it far and actually hit the deer, hit the reindeer too. It was great. Yeah, thanks for that.
That modern day, that's the same thing as this. Like, isn't the news coming out that this old face aging app has some kind of backdoor?
Oh yeah. Well, no. It's not. It's not that it has a backdoor. What it is
terms of service.
It's the terms of service are worded very gray area, and it's pretty much like, well, we own the rights to your photo, and we could sell it, and you get nothing. But also the fact of the matter is that it is built by a Russian company, and with
totally trustworthy.
With the whole U.S. elections and everything, they're like, well, should we trust?
It's not just the elections; it's like cyber warfare in general. There's copyright patents being stolen on the daily.
Oh yeah,
that's where you mentioned R4 last time. Like that's where the R4 comes from, is like patent theft basically, and it's crazy. There's nothing is like as secure. If it has internet connection, it's not as secure as you would hope.
Yeah. Roxism. When we were that young, we just heard games and we're like, yeah, we'll download it. And like I said, then when Kazaa, BearShare, Napster, all that stuff was like the hotness, and just LimeWire, just searching for whatever band I want. At the time I wasn't looking at what it was because I didn't know what it was.
Right. The worst is when they would have something like misnamed. It would be like somebody trying to advertise their band, so you would download like, I don't know, just Linkin Park or whatever, and it would be like not that when you play it.
Oh no!
Or the text would be all like gibberish, and there'd be like a different file extension.
Never got it.
What are they trying to do to me?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It was like Linkin Park hybrid theory mp3.exe.
Yeah, exactly. But by that point, we knew enough to be like, wait,
no, hell no. I was just I'm downloading it.
By the time Napster was out, I knew enough, but that doesn't mean, like bonus. I said, that doesn't mean my.
I don't remember bonus.com. I never played on that one.
Yeah, me neither. Anyways, I did get ransomware once, and my internet virus, like literally as it was coming up to like decrypt everything and be like, please send us the money, what I mean? It was getting killed by the virus protection like as it happened.
I downloaded one virus, and it was like the one time that I actually did get a virus on the computer, and I don't know how old I was. It was definitely something I downloaded on Kazaa or something like that, and it was a pop-up came up that's like, find the leak or the ship will sink, and you pretty much were on a timer. If you didn't find the virus itself, it would delete a whole bunch of DLL files and stuff from system files, and just essentially just reboot itself, and then all of a sudden you got no operating system. We were able to get it back up, but then just recently I just found out that there is a virus database that you can download these viruses. So I've now gone to it, download it, put it on a virtual machine, and just mess with it. I'm like, oh my god,
that's crazy.
Like now that I know what I know now,
they're almost like vaccinations. Like the virus is still there, doesn't really do anything anymore.
Well, like I said, you put it on a virtual machine, so it's just a like you have. I think you know what a virtual machine is. Yeah. You have your computer, and there's like this little area you're only isolated. You're only isolated to here. So that's what I would do. I installed it. But yeah, like I said, now that I know what I know now in my professional career of IT, I could now detect like what it's doing, where it's affected, and all this stuff. And it's like, man, I wish I knew now. It's like the whole the old adage, if I knew then what I know now.
When I was younger, wish that. I don't know.
Oh my god.
I don't know the song. Half of these songs are I just know from commercials anyway.
God, down like porn messing with your family's computer. Yes.
Honestly, for me, it wasn't really porn. Like, it was like you said, songs or like you were into old anime too.
Yep.
It used to be just like, if you didn't pirate it, you couldn't get it.
No, exactly.
There was no way to get this
because
stuff.
at the time, you know, the anime wasn't as big as it is now.
Yeah,
there was no Crunchyroll, there was no Netflix, nothing like that. Right. No website you could watch it from. But people uploaded it and
they loved it.
Yeah, because
and
you know,
like fan and stuff.
Toonami, they only showed a finite amount. That you know, I did get introduced to Gundam Wing, Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball Z, Tenchi Muyo from Toonami, but it was only short runs,
right?
Because obviously it was still kind of like, oh, we're testing the water,
right?
So here comes 11-year-old me on Kazaa downloading all of Gundam Wing, and me watching it subtitled. I'm like, whoa!
If you go even further back, it was Saturday Anime on the Sci-Fi Channel. They would show like Akira, and you'd be like, oh my god, what is this? Like,
yeah, I don't think
people are getting exploded, and animation can be like this. What is going on? My young mind is being changed forever.
Akira, I honestly didn't watch it until I was probably into my mid-20s.
It's pretty out there, but they showed other stuff too.
Well, and like, I was talking to somebody at work about it. It's kind of like I may trigger some people, but it's a good movie. Yes, it's good. Does it hold? Does it hold well right now? I don't think so.
I think a lot of these movies they get immortalized more for their impact than for their content. Does that make sense? Like Akira was very impactful on society and pushing anime forward. People know about it.
There's one song that still resonates with me on that from that movie.
They sell the red leather jacket. It is hot.
Oh yeah,
it's super hot.
Yeah, exactly. You know, cosplay and all that stuff, but people want that jacket. But there's one song. It's called Doll's Polyphony, and it is just the
links in the description.
What?
I said links in the description.
Oh yeah, sure.
I want to hear it too. So.
Yeah, it's just like I don't know what it is. The tune of it is just crazy. It's like kind of like it's a mind fuck.
The whole movie.
Oh yeah,
visually, plot wise. That's my problem with a lot of like super kind of highbrow Japanese stuff is like it becomes so dense. Like what was going on? Who was the protagonist? Like, I can't follow.
But yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, Joe's listening to some of these other ones.
Ronin
Warriors, G-Force, Outlaw Stars, Gundam Wing, Cowboy Bebop, and Trigun. Both of those. Yep.
Come on, man. Cowboy Bebop, I think, is the best anime of all time.
We should have coordinated this. I would have put on my Cowboy Bebop shirt.
Yeah. I like the shirt that's like, if you get it, you get it. But if you don't get it, you don't know I'm a weeaboo. That's my goal.
See, and, obviously everybody has their opinion of Rocktism, no matter how wrong they are. But no, Rocktism's great. People will say, Cowboy Bebop and Trigun.
See, I hated Trigun.
Exactly. See, people will be like, those are your my first animes.
Yeah.
And it's like, it is one of those my first animes that gets you introduced to it. But Cowboy Bebop, the fact that Cowboy Bebop and Samurai Champloo, that they were able to mix two different genres. Music.
It's about having a very like clear vision.
Hip hop and Edo period samurais. Okay, gunslingers and jazz. Space gunslingers and jazz. Like, okay.
Well, I mean, even if you don't like the show, it's still like pop culture dynamite. You know what I mean? Like someone has an idea and everyone else thinks it's crazy, and they mix unlikely things together, and it's super successful.
Yeah.
Did you know that the voice actor for Spike and Cowboy Bebop had never done anything before? They found him in like some cafe.
The American voice actor?
Yeah. Pretty interesting.
Oh.
I thought he did pretty fantastic.
I'm actually looking forward to the live action.
Yeah. I hope they don't mess it up. It's so much easier to mess it up when you remake it than it is when you make it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But Sword Art Online, it's an okay anime. I thoroughly enjoyed the first season.
Me too.
The second season, where it was the fantasy, I guess both of them were really fantasy if you look at it. But
it was
but when it was the whole elves and we have this child and all that stuff.
It was almost like they shifted the demographic of the show on purpose. It was like when they first made it, it was like actiony, whatever, and then they're like, we need to get more girls to watch. We're just gonna make it a little more frilly.
Yeah, and I thought that the first season was great because I think that it can happen.
Yeah. That's another good example of like a really cool idea that is pop culture dynamite. Right?
Yeah.
Like I love the idea that you get trapped in a game and you could die if you don't solve the game. Ah, I got the camera messing up again.
Camera died again. Hold on. Oh my god, what is going on? See?
So while you're fixing the camera, I'm just gonna.
Is the camera fine? No, it looks like the camera's
Okay,
back.
is it good? Someone said RIP. Anyways,
Looks like it's back.
season 3 of Sword Art, so terrible. It's just the fact that you have a show where sword is in the title and there's no swords in it anymore. How ridiculous is that?
Sword Art?
Yeah, there's in season 3 like guns or something. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Come on, man. But anyways, I hate when they change a show too much in its run. I thought Death Note ended on a whimper rather than a bang.
Well, did you actually
fantastic.
read the anime? Not the
manga?
read the manga to see
No,
how
I
it
didn't.
actually ended?
No, I didn't.
Oh, girl. Ooh.
I've honestly never read a manga. I've read like Parasite, and that's it. Also, Parasite, fantastic, timeless anime, very, very impactful.
Tokyo Ghoul. I enjoyed.
Christine, yeah, my wife loves Tokyo Ghoul.
I enjoyed Tokyo Ghoul, especially. I enjoyed both first seasons. I don't really care for the.
It gets a little more fantastic as it goes.
Like the newer I think is what it's called. I don't know what the newest one is,
Yeah,
but
I mean, that's her thing. Not
it's
mine.
but Tokyo Ghoul, I enjoyed that. Yeah. See, and you know, Ratism saying how Tokyo. So you know,
I have a problem with the super fantastical bit where you have like battling rainbow colored butterflies. You know what I mean? It's kind of like I get the plot up to a certain point, and then I'm just kind of like, I don't know if it's that I'm too grounded in like westernism and like gritty realism, but I'm just kind of like, no. Once I hit that disconnect, it's like I'm out. I'm out. I'm done.
Yeah, I thought that Tokyo Ghoul was great up until I came to like I think the third season. It was just it's a little bit too out there for me.
Anime, right? It's too anime. It's
too anime for
Japan.
But yeah, it's just, you know, it's the same thing as music, same thing as movies.
Yeah,
everything. Everybody has their own opinion.
Bloodborne, like I think Dark Souls is awesome. Bloodborne, when you're holding a sword that's like the size of a house, it's like, no, dude. Like, no, you can't swing that. It's too big.
Dark Souls, you have the same thing.
To give you, I know, but in Dark Souls, they made you like really slow and ponderous to swing them. It's like, yeah. And I can almost forgive it in Monster Hunter a little bit because Monster Hunter is more flamboyant in general. But Dark Souls is supposed to be like gritty and grounded. And so when you do these like ridiculous, just giant weapons, it's just silly. It just looks silly. It's almost like they're fighting with big like foam cosplay swords. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, no, I can't deal. I shut off. I disconnect. Sorry. And then I hit my mic. Yeah. I'm so upset.
I think we found what triggers Dave the most: anime.
I'm very like, my suspension of disbelief is like so, it's like a light switch. It's like I'm either totally on board or I'm totally not on board.
God.
It's like, I like an altered carbon. Such a ridiculous concept. Like you can copy your consciousness into a computer chip. I'm like, swell, super, I'm on board. If they just push it a little too far, I'm just like, I'm out.
Try to think like what.
And for those reasons, I'm out.
There has not really been a whole lot of anime that's just been. I started watching. I'm like, no, I can't do it.
What's your favorite anime of all time?
It sounds like
let me rephrase that. Not the one that's your favorite, but the one that like made you realize that you could get into anime, like the one that brought you in.
I mean, it may sound again. It's gonna sound like a cop out. No, not Dragon Ball Z. It will probably be Trigun and Cowboy Bebop, because both of those I watched them pretty much at the same time.
Right.
It was one of those specials on.
Toonami.
On Toonami.
They really hyped it too before it came on.
And that's what got me into it. You know,
Remember that
Dragon Ball Z
guy that on Toonami.
It got me into anime, and then I started watching Dragon Ball Z, and Dragon Ball Z was one of the only shows that was consecutively on, and for anime, you know, it was always on, that and Sailor Moon. So those are the two shows that my brother and we recorded because we moved from California here and we drove.
Right. I guess it was because I was a little older, because I was already into anime like by the time that stuff was coming out. But for me, it was Lotus Wars. It was like basically Lord of the Rings anime.
Yeah.
It didn't age well. It doesn't hold up well. But for the time, it was, again, totally took over. Everybody was obsessed with it.
Some of the more modern ones. I think Netflix has one, The Knights of Sidonia. Did you ever watch that one?
Isn't that one in space?
Yes,
Yeah.
but it's like it's anime, but it's CG,
like
CG as well.
It
yeah,
was one of the first ones to do that, right? I remember in like early 2000s, they got really obsessed with like doing the crossovers. Yeah, I think I watched the first episode. I don't remember it. I remember I had the whole thing and I was ready to like binge the whole thing, and I watched the first couple and I was kind of like, okay, whatever, and I didn't really finish it.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know what else you guys watched. I mean, I know Joe mentioned some stuff and Rocktism, you know, some stuff. What were the animes that got you guys started?
Open up the floodgates.
In watching anime.
Man, I you know what I really miss? Like, obviously VHS is garbage, and to some extent DVD is going to be gone before too long, you know, because it's all about digital. But I used to actually really like the previews, because especially in something really obscure like anime, you pop the tape in and they do this little montage of like 10 different animes, and they flash like the cool highlights and like the titles of them by, and you're like, holy crap, I'm going to check out all 10 of them. Like, that was the only way to learn about like the new cool thing that was coming out.
I remember, so I have I was obsessed with Dragon Ball Z, the Broly.
I saw the movie, but I'm not.
I haven't seen the new
Dragon Ball.
I haven't seen the new one because I haven't watched Dragon Ball Super at all. But Broly was my character. I was like, oh, he's a badass. And I watched and I bought the movie, bought the DVD, and yeah, there were like little snippets of like trailers, like some of the stuff. But also one of the things that got me hooked into anime as well were the AMVs.
Yeah, that people would like put a song and like.
And
that's what made me hate Dragon Ball Z. I was just about to ask you.
But about no, it was like,
if you were into it, you were like, this is the coolest thing ever. But if you were not, you were like, this is
because the thing is
awful garbage.
When AMVs were like starting to become
that was
big,
like the thing. That was like the first Let's Play. It was like the first. Big thing.
You know, in the early inceptions of YouTube, it was it was before, you know, people just
470p.
Yeah, exactly. People embedding videos in their websites and stuff like that. And that's also during the time that I was getting into heavier music. I was getting into heavy metal.
That's what it was all about. It was like crunchy, punchy, like metal.
There's one, and I have to find it, see if it's still there. They got me into Slipknot, which got me into heavy metal. But it was Wait and Bleed by Slipknot, and it like pretty much the entire fight between Goku and Broly, and I was like,
mind blown.
This is amazing. And then I started watching stuff with Static X, got me into Static X, and then, you know, again, Dragon Ball fighting scenes, just a whole bunch of these other things. But then also, because I brought it up because in the trailer for like the Broly movie, they had a trailer for the movie itself inside the movie. It's like,
gotcha.
You could see the soundtrack from artists such as Static X. I'm like, fuck, you guys also have these artists in the movies? Hell yeah.
That's true. Let me ask you a question just to explain how I dislike Dragon Ball Z. Do you have any like fandom that turned you off on the show? Is it like Harry Potter is like, I understand it's a thing people love, but you all are so far into it that I can't get on board. Do you have anything like that?
Like,
for me, it's Dragon Ball Z. It's like, if I had hit it at the time and like had the nostalgia for it, I could, you know, watched it or whatever. But it's just way too far gone. I know people feel that way about Game of Thrones too, where it's like, if you're not on board now, you cannot get on board.
I don't think that there's anything like that. Well, no? one of the things I like, whenever I went to like I would go to Emerald City Comic Con, Dragon Con, Mega Con, like I would go, you know, all across for the different cons.
Sure.
One of the things that got me, that was like weird to me, was all the people dressed up as these Homestruck characters.
Homestruck.
Apparently, it's a web comic, and it's like a huge thing.
Wait, are you talking about Homestar Runner?
No. I know who Homestar Runner is.
I thought
that's another one. That's
why
talking about
the fandom turning you off.
Strong bad. No. I love Homestar Runner, but we'll go
for the time again. It was
we'll go back to the Flash,
old Flash stuff,
old Flash stuff talk in a minute. No, it was Homestruck, and
no bells ringing.
Like I said, it was just it was. There were people kind of dressed like half demon kind of things, and I never really understood it. And I was like looking at people like, what the hell are all you people dressed as? Because like usually I'm into like a whole bunch of stuff.
But it is weird when you see people like dressed up and you don't know what they're dressed up as.
And like I think I just saw too many poorly done cosplays
okay.
and everything.
So at least you get what I'm getting at.
Or it might have been that's just the look, and that's they achieved it. That's the look, but that kind of turned me off from ever looking at to what is like looking more into Homestuck.
It's so weird how like the first impression of any kind of franchise is so important. Like if you get it back.
Homestuck. Sorry. Homestuck, not Homestruck. Sorry,
yeah,
don't want to offend Joe over here.
Oh yeah, there's so many links that we're gonna have to post because there's so much obscure stuff that I'm just kind of like, what? Yeah. If I don't get it, there's gonna be people out there who are like, what are you talking about? But man, I've seen some cringy so in the same way that it was really hard to like get anime because you had to pirate it because it wasn't here. I was in like the anime club for like a couple meetings.
Nerd alert.
I can't remember if it was my high school who had the club. I don't remember. I knew someone who was in it, and I don't remember who was hosting it. But anyways, like in the same way that the fandom can go too far, the fandom of something that is just like super super underground is even worse. It's like there's no holds barred. There's no cringe level that's too high. You know what I mean? And it's just kind of like, I do have somewhat of a social life, this is too much for me. I still do want to date girls, I still do want to be in the music scene. Like I have other ways to be cool. I don't have to be here. I have other things about myself that I can share with the world other than
open the door. Nope.
There's this weird line where like if you love something too much, it's pathetic. Do you know what I mean? Like it's the same thing if you're like really into cars. It's like, oh man, cars are awesome. Okay. Do you have anything else to say?
I think you
can't just talk about cars all the time.
I think you just offended Caitlin because she loves the movie Cars.
Anyway, I'm not about the movie, but you know what I mean. It's like you have to understand at what point you have to have the self-awareness. I think self-awareness is what makes something cringy, right?
Like, like I said, I've gotten to the point now where I'm just like, okay, you know what? You guys want to enjoy whatever. You guys enjoy what you want to enjoy.
Yeah.
You do you, boo. You do you. But yeah, so.
But I'm talking about back then. Back then it was a little more like intensely in your face to make the call to be like, do I want to be in this community or not? You know what I mean? Now it's like the internet. It's like whatever. Do whatever you want.
So Rock doesn't mention Chobits. I never watched Chobits.
I remember the cringy, matey looking outfits that everybody wore.
Yeah, because it's like I never watched it. Like I guess that was the first anime that Rock doesn't watch. Mm-hmm. That I was like, I remember seeing the images on different bulletin boards, different stuff online, but I never watched it. And then Makokeo mentioned Ranma Half.
I remember that.
Ranma Half, that he actually got me into watching a few episodes of it when I was a kid.
A lot of anime that people love now wouldn't be around if not for Ranma, because it started the company, what is it, Shonen or Shonen Jump or whatever it is.
Yeah, Shonen Jump.
That started making everything after they got the money. Like there would be no One Piece, there would be no like
Naruto
stuff that people Naruto. Thank you. Yeah, you probably know more about than I do. But
I love don't get me. That's another one. You mentioned Naruto and people are like, it's like I liked it.
I could see myself giving Naruto a chance. I can't see myself giving Trigun a chance. I don't know. There's just something about like. They would go super serious and they'd be like, we're gonna these gunfights, and then they would be like blah 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 blah, like.
Well, that was it. It kind of gives you the mystery. It gives you the mystery as to who is this Vashta Stampede. You don't realize. Like I literally just watched I think it was like a 45-minute long video about why Trigun and why Vashta Stampede is such a good character, because they don't let you know who he is really until you're about 11 episodes in, and then that's the turning point, and it's like, holy shit, and then it just goes.
Okay, I'll give it a shot, Robbi.
But what were we talking? Oh, Homestar Running. Going back to that.
Wait, don't go back to Homestar Running.
All right, we won't go back to Homestar Running.
I want to give somebody props for doing Ronin Warriors, because there's this weird. In the same way that stuff will take off here and then take off overseas later, we were behind on anime for a long time. So I had the toys of Ronin Warriors when I was like super young, and then it finally came overseas on TV, and I was like, wow, that's a toy I've had for forever. And I thought that was really cool. That's all.
And I'm trying to think, because even when I was growing up, I lived in Asia when I was a kid. We didn't watch anime, like even so when I was a kid living in Thailand, I remember watching the Batman animated series, and that's what got me hooked onto Batman. And
Batman is like the most awarded show of all time. Like, I didn't even really watch it, but I know that it's like a big deal. Mark Hamill's Joker is a big deal. You know, everything about that show is like a big deal.
You know, Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill, whenever I'm reading the comic books, as Batman and Joker, those are the voices in my head.
Yeah, I feel it.
And it's just, I've heard that from, you know, when I was over at Epic Comics over here, they would talk about, and like a lot of people are like, oh yeah, those are the voices. That's the voice when I read. I'm like, yes, thank you. I'm not the only one, but I guess it's that generation, our generation, that's like grew up with that.
That show also kind of proved that like comics could be like long, successful, critically acclaimed TV shows. Like a lot of things came out after because like Static Shock and all that other stuff came out. Because,
Static Shock, Blue Beetle.
Yeah. Or the Superman show. All those shows came after Batman.
Meanwhile,
like, yo, look at this.
The Hall of Justice.
The thing I really hated about, again, it's weird how a show can be ruined for you, not by the show. Like, what ruined Batman for me was going to my babysitter's house and being shoved in a back room and neglected for hours at a time. And my babysitter was actually arrested for neglecting her own children. So she wasn't my babysitter anymore after that. But it's like, I can't think of the show without thinking of A, my neglectful, abusive babysitter, and B, the stupid toys they had. The toys were the worst.
We're digging up bad memories for Dave.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just like that. Like, I love the grounded, like, real, believable, gritty things. So when you have Batman in this, like, giant scuba suit with, like, neon orange missiles that shoot out in a car with like neon green missiles that shoot out.
I saw you looking back there. Obviously you guys can't see all the action figures I have behind the camera.
No,
but
I wasn't looking for anything. Although I do see one that fits the description now, the one with the yellow battery.
The yellow lantern? Yellow bat.
Oh, is that what that is? Okay, I take it back.
Yes, don't go with yellow lantern Batman.
But anyways, it's so funny because Batman is like never killed anyone, and then his cars have missile launchers in the toys. It's kind of like, come on, guys, you're not trying very hard at all. And then the first Batman movie was so dark, and then the show was so dark.
Which one?
The Kevin Costner Batman.
Okay, yeah.
And the show was dark and gritty.
Wait, Kevin Costner?
Did I say? Is it not Kevin Costner?
You're talking about the Tim Burton one?
Anyways, all the first Batman movies were dark. The first like
that was with Danny DeVito as the Penguin, right?
There's one before that. You never seen the one with Jack Nicholson as a Joker?
Oh, yes. Okay.
Anyways, I don't know which of those movies was out by the time the cartoon came out. I don't know how it lines
not Tim
up.
Allen.
I don't know how it lines up the movies with the cartoon show. But anyways, the first ones were dark. So the toys could have been, the same kind of vibe. Detective Comics, noir, dark, ass-kicking, and instead they were like just Mattel nonsense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even at a young age, I was kind of like, that's stupid. That's too silly. My toys are too silly.
Dave was a little bit too highbrow for that.
I guess so. I guess I've always been that like hipster guy. Like it could be better.
Yeah, but I think silly. Nothing like really has gone over the top for me. It's like I hate it, except for that Homestuck. Whenever I was going to all these cons, I'm like, the hell is all you? Yeah. Oh no, I'm sorry. There is one thing. I just remember. I know what it is.
Go for it.
And I'm probably gonna make some people mad. Doctor Who.
I can feel that.
Doctor Who. I've watched the episode. I've watched several episodes. And Kat, she tried getting me into. Right. She. I guess her dad had all these episodes and watched some of it. And it's just like.
Yeah, that's a show where.
Nope.
First of all.
Can't do it. And then all the fans, nope.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
Remember how I said the first impression is so important? Like what I consider the reboot is like the Rose episodes. I'm familiar, but I'm not that familiar. And if you didn't get in then, it's kind of like you're not going to get in. Because the further they got, the more successful the show got, the more undigestible the fandom became. It was just like they had signature hats, they had signature scarves, they just kind of all these little like in jokes like Bad Wolf.
And the one thing was the cosplayers. So the cosplayers, there's the ones that go all out. Either they buy the clothes that looks like the
Take your pick,
doctors.
there's been like 14. So
That looks like the doctors.
You can go back to black and white. If you want.
There's some Daleks and like something like that.
Right.
There's those angels that I guess the whole thing is that you can't look at them.
Angels, I guess,
the ones that I do not like, every time I see them, it's just ridiculous. Are the people who just draw tally marks on them. I guess that's something from the show. I never watched it enough to get that, but they just draw tally marks on their bodies.
And they're like, this is a cosplay.
Exactly. Like this is my cosplay. Like,
that's lazy.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
you're being a cosplay hipster.
I've done purposefully lazy cosplays. Like we for MegaCon, they had an after party that we did all the Batman characters, but in pajamas. So we went out to Walmart, bought robes and stuff that matched the costume, that matched the character that we were going to go as, and that's what we did. It was lazy, but it's purposefully lazy, and we went as a group.
I had a phase where I enjoyed wearing kids' Halloween costumes, so I would have like a kid's Elmo like stuffed over my head. It's like the seams are like ripping open.
Don't even get me started with kids Halloween costumes. You remember the Miley Cyrus?
I wish I don't remember that.
You don't remember me dressed up as Miley Cyrus?
No, I don't.
Oh my god!
I'll have to. We'll trade photos. We'll trade photos for everybody to see how ridiculous we look. Because I had a couple pretty funny ones, but yeah. For me, the Doctor Who is there's like 10 seasons of don't understand, wasn't alive, and then there's like the 10 new seasons, and for me, there's a chunk right here that I was like, yeah, I get it, I understand, I can watch this, but it got pretty like outrageous at some points. Yeah. They have this tendency in the show, and I'm not sure if it's directly linked to a theme that goes in the show, or if it's just the writers they happen to have now, but they always go super big with everything. They're like, if there's a bad guy that has to be beaten, there'll be this down camera shot where he'll be like, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do this because I'm the good guy and I'm gonna win, and it's like, come on guys, that's just so over the top.
Cue the horn.
So over the top. Yeah. It's a little cringe. It's kind of like, it's cringe, but like I get it. Like you can love, like you said, you can love what you love. Like,
right. You can love what you love, and you appreciate it. But
we're just gonna bash. Let's just bash everything.
Bash everything. So we're gonna start with the Kardashian. No.
Well, I think that Citizen Kane is not a very good movie, and I think that the Beatles were a terrible band. I'm trying to find the most timeless things that just like shit on them as much as I can.
No, but
you know what's funny? Like, I can't imagine people 20 or 30 years from now listening to like any music from today. You know what I mean? So people are gonna be like, man, that Gautier album was really like timeless and important.
With the one song?
Yeah, I know. That's exactly what I mean. It's just so like the media is just so like disposable. You just eat it. And
didn't we talk about this on the last episode where I was watching something and they were talking about that? I think I was talking to Osbug on one of my streams about music. It's just like we remember.
Oh yeah. All survivorship bias.
Exactly. We talk about the 60s, 70s, 80s, and we're like, oh, there were all these good bands. Asia. The Beatles. The Who, Sex Pistols, you can name all these bands, but there were other shitty bands mixed in it. And when we're experiencing the music right now, we see all the good, we see all the bad, and then 20 years from now, that next generation, they'll be seeing this generation.
My point wasn't so much about the quality of the music, but as the hyper accelerated cycle of things coming in and out. But you're right. Yeah, we did touch on it. I won't revisit.
No, it's fine. But yeah, one of the things too that I want to bring up now, the original topic was our talk about the Flash and all that.
Homestar Runner.
Oh yeah, Homestar Runner. That was.
It was.
That I wasted so much time, and I still waste time on it. It was Trogdor.
It was funny. There was actually a live tour they did that came to UCF, and I saw them there.
Oh really?
Yeah. They had this briefcase. And people were like, how do you do all the voices? And he opened this briefcase, and it was like 10 toilet paper rolls, and each one had the name of a character drawn on it. And you could pick up the toilet paper roll and do the voice. And then he would be like, or if you want to get crazy, you could do this. He would like jam two of them together and then make like a new voice. And it was hilarious.
So Makoa Ko, so when I first started streaming, I was doing a whole bunch of different games, and one of the things that I bought and I still want to replay, Joe and Kate, is Keep Talking and No One Explodes.
Yeah, it's a great game. We should do a video of it.
It is an amazing game, and I was the diffuser, and I'm talking to them on it, and it was the characters, the different characters.
It's a man with a pitchfork.
Exactly. Yeah. What one of the ones is I got this, and I got a Trogdor looking thing. Silence. It was dead silence, and then all of a sudden,
if they got it, it would have been a perfect clue.
They did. They did. Okay. That was it. Two of them, Jonathan, who's not on right now, and Joe, both of them got it immediately. Jonathan was too busy cracking up laughing because it was dead silent.
So the bomb goes off because it was funny.
Well, we did lose that one, but it was dead silent. Jonathan starts laughing. Joe helps me out. He gets it diffused. But it was just, Homestar Runner was one of the ones that, in the early ages of Flash, I wasted so much time.
That's funny.
Because when I got introduced to it, the Strong Bad emails had already accumulated. Sure. I was started from number one, and I just kept going. And as they were releasing, I saw the computer upgrade, different things. Right. I was like,
it's interesting how there were so many different facets to that show. Like Strong Bad was just a character of a show, and then he became his own thing, and they had these.
Right, exactly.
Strong Bad had the fan interaction.
Right, it was
videos.
It was about Homestar Runner, and then he had the cheat. But then Strong Bad was his friend, and all of them. But
yeah, I can't name it. The Coach, I guess, is one of them. I don't know. Let's not go there. I don't remember all that stuff.
Yeah,
it was really cool for what it was at the time. It was kind of like a forecasting of what all these different social media channels could be.
Yeah, and I think that it still has some sort of a cultural influence now.
Sure.
I just bought a shirt. I mean, I guess I didn't just buy a shirt, but a few years back, I bought a shirt that's the Mortal Kombat, but it's Trogdor. So it's the Mortal Kombat Dragon, but Trogdor with the muscle and everything.
Man, I had the Mortal Kombat Dragon shirt.
Yeah. Okay. There we go. Kate just posted the link to the actual Trogdor clip from my stream, because that was just an amazing moment. Because Kate was like, I don't know what Trogdor is.
I love those games where there's a lot of kind of reading each other's minds involved. Have you played that board game where you're two teams of spies and they have to match up words on the table and you have to give a clue? I won't go too far because I don't remember what it's called either, but you'll have really interesting moments like that as well. Where if you guys get this reference, we're going to win right now. And if you don't, we're screwed.
No, I never played that, but I don't know. So that there goes, I guess, my topic, and then we went on to 20 different tangents.
Sure. Well, I wanted to talk today about
the birds and the
being
bees.
Friends.
Ew.
When you have friends, you hit different stages of how good of a friend are they? And I want to know what the highest stage of friendship you've ever attained was, and what you think the steps are, because I won't jump the gun too far. But
we had a situation come in just now when you walked into my house.
Yeah. I walked into Robbi's house without knocking. That's pretty high. That's like a 4 on the 5 scale. If you can walk it, but I had that permission with my friends even when their parents were home. Yeah. So it wasn't like, what? That's rude. Why did you walk in? It was like, oh hi, you're part of the family. Dave. You walking right in without knocking. But I even further than that, I got permission to come in when they weren't home. When nobody's home. It's like, yeah, you can feed our dogs when we're out of town. Just here's a key. Yeah.
But that's kind of like a responsibility. That they're not very much inviting. They're not saying, oh, just come into my house and just hang out, watch TV.
It kind of was though at that.
Oh really? Okay.
But even more so than that. Okay, back when I was a rebellious, bad teenage kid, they had a lot of weed. His parents had a lot of weed.
A lot.
And I found it on accident while looking for porn. And
so you were
so I'm at my friend's parents' house with a big full-on drug dealer brick of weed that I'd never before seen in my life, inviting my brother's older friends over, yo, guys, you gotta come over to this house. We're gonna party so hard. Jesus. And it was pretty intense. But that's not even the story I was getting to. I think, to me, the highest level of friendship that you can attain, more than going in the fridge without asking, more than being there when their parents aren't there, is breaking into their house with permission.
Breaking into their house with permission.
Have you ever broken into any of your friends' houses?
No, I never broke into any of my friends' houses. I broke into my own house because I've lost a key or something like that. So I had to pick the lock or something. But yeah,
I've broken into almost all my friends that I grew up with houses. Like if they were coming home from somewhere and they weren't home yet, it's like, yeah, you can go in and hang out. So it's like, well, we've broken in together when we got locked out before, so I'm gonna break into your house and I'm gonna be there when you get home. Hi, how's it going?
Jesus.
But it seems like too far, but it was totally with permission.
I don't know. So like, did we lose the camera? Is it resetting? Hold on.
The worst.
I think.
Give us a second.
I think it's good. Maybe.
We'll find out by the chat.
Rox just wants to restrain her. No, my I think with you, it's like when you walked into my house, I think it's because we've lived together.
Well, you've also invited me without knocking multiple times.
Right. We lived together, and exactly. I've invited you in
just
without.
Come on in. I'll be doing this.
Just come on in. I don't care. Because either you come over when I'm streaming, you come over when I'm setting stuff up for this. So I was like, it doesn't matter. It's Dave. Come on in. But yeah, I don't know. I've never had other people just be like, oh yeah, just walk on in.
Especially when you're living with your parents, like when you were a kid. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
No, like I don't think I've ever had any friends that. But most of the time, when I was younger, I would either be at home or I would be outside skateboarding. I never really went over to friends' houses to play games or anything like that.
Did you have any friends that had a pool and you had permission to use their pool when they're like if they're
no, because when I was growing up here and we had a community pool, so we used.
So you didn't need that.
Yeah, we used the community pool.
Gotcha. See, I lost friend permission at the pool because we left such a mess of just like Nerf guns.
You lost, so you were at a 4 and you got back down to a 2.
Sort of, kind of. There was ups and downs. I think the slickest friend like espionage I ever pulled at the same kid's house was he had rented a game for the Super Nintendo that I hadn't beaten. And his parents were divorced, so he had to go back and forth on the weekends between houses. So I was like at his house on a Friday, and then he was at his dad's on the Sunday or on the Saturday, so I couldn't finish the game. It's like, well, they've got 4 or 5 days on this rental, and I haven't beaten it, so it's just sitting there. It is in his house, and he's not even there. It's like I got to beat this game. So I made some pretense, knocked on the door. Hey, I forgot some childish excuse, and they bought it. And I took the game and I brought it home and I played it until the day it was due. And then I went back to his house on some other pretext and knocked on the door and returned the game. And then they returned it on time and everything was fine.
I think most like it wasn't really like a thing against me. It was one of the guys that grew up down the road from us. His brother had just graduated, and I guess that he had his friends, and like the older brother had his friends over, and the younger brother had some of us over, and some of the stuff went missing at the house at their parents' house, and that was it. I was like, yeah, people aren't allowed over at the house anymore, and I was like, yeah, no, that makes total sense.
I've had that situation too. I had games disappear, and then we were like pretty sure that a friend of my brother's had taken it, so.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, being older, and I think that now this generation, is texting like, "Hey, I'm coming over. All right, just walk on in."
Yeah, that makes sense. But the text is a little more like informal.
Exactly. But I don't, I don't ever leave my house. So let's be honest.
That's fair. But I'm talking about more like when when they actually mattered, like when you're kids.
Yeah, no, kids. It was always just either people would come over to my parents' house and we would play games, or we would skateboard. So it's not like.
What about when you were a teen or like young college? Did a friend ever like score with you in the room where it was like, oh, that's just my friend?
What?
You never had somebody like in the dorms like hook up when you were like in the room, or like
I mean
they're like double rooms. It's a big room. No,
because I was never in like a dorm or like apartment kind of like that, like where it was like 2 bedrooms next to each other at most. There was. I'm
starting to sound like a freak the more I talk. But I don't know. Everybody's always cool with me. Like I had a friend where his girlfriend was a good friend of mine too, and I was cool with both of them. Yeah. And he was driving, and she was in the passenger seat, or shotgun, and I'm in the back seat, And she turns around and goes, "Is it cool if I give him a blowjob?" And I was like, "I don't care." So I just hear this. I think that's another level too. Like going into someone's house when they're not there and it being cool is like topping the scale, but that's like off the scale.
I mean, I guess we're going into like now we're sharing stories. It was like, the most is probably, Mike and I when we went to St. Augustine.
I mean, you don't have to name names, but you can tell the story.
No, I'm not gonna say who. Like, it was definitely it was
a hotel or something?
We'll get Mike on the show one of these days, hopefully. Yeah, exactly. It was just a hotel. It was just like, the two, we got two different twin beds. I was like, okay, he has a girl and I have a girl.
It's like it's kind of two rooms. Like,
but then again, it was Mike. We were living together. Right. Something like that. Right. Exactly.
And they're not going to be like looking at you like, oh yeah, there's something going on there.
I mean, we kind of like did high five each other, but that's another story for another day.
that's just for the meme of it, right? Just for the joke, just to be as edgy as humanly possible.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
All right, Joe. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for hanging out. You have a good night.
How many stories can I tell without getting in trouble? Like, if I go too far, people are going to start realizing who I'm talking. They're going to be like, "That's my house."
Right.
Have you ever gotten laid at one of your friends' houses when they weren't home?
See, the thing is, I never went to my friends' houses when they weren't home. So it's like.
I don't know. It depends on their parents too. If your friends were very like, I had a friend growing up where it was like you weren't even allowed in their house at all. Like if you went over to hang out, you were on the front porch with like toys on the front porch.
Well, that's how it was. Again, your guys' house. But before we lived together, and I would be waiting for Mike, I would wait on the front on the front patio. Either you and Teeny would come home and let me in. And I would hang out on the couch.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Or no, I mean, at most, I guess it would be Mike, because it was either, if he was home, he'd leave the door unlocked and I'd walk in.
So you guys broke the scale. You guys.
And like there were times that like you would let me in, or your other roommate, I can't remember his name, but he would let me in sometimes because I was there pretty much every fucking day. Mm-hmm. And I would just go into Mike's room, load up the Xbox, and just start playing games. Like,
yeah, you're right. It's different when you have like roommates or when you're grown up.
Right.
You're an adult, even though 18 is arguably, or 20 or 25 still.
Shit, man. Trying to think. I was like 23, something like that. When I finally like moved out of living with you guys and stuff like that.
Yeah, I stayed with my parents way too long.
Yeah. Oh no. I moved out when I was like 18.
Really?
But when I was living with you guys, I think it was, obviously I had my 22nd birthday. That's when we had that huge.
That long ago?
That's when we had that huge party.
That was your 22nd?
That was my 22nd birthday. Yeah. Because
time flies.
Yeah, it was a while back.
Am I dreaming? Am I dead?
Yeah. That's where we had that giant party, and geez, that was a shit show.
Good. That's the only party I've ever been to where people had to be kicked out because it was too rowdy.
It was way too rowdy. So we had a joint birthday, me and our roommate, because his birthday was, I want to say, like 10 days away from mine, and we lived on, how big would you say the property was?
It was huge. I don't know anything about
acreage or anything like that.
Yeah.
But
it was probably I want to say it was 2 acres.
So it was.
We only really had 1 acre of it, and there was like
exactly. That's what I was saying, because it was this large area that half of it was RV storage. The landlord rented out part of the land as just parking spots. Then the other half was our house and just woods in the back, and it was huge. We had this massive fence around it, and
giant bonfire.
Yeah, giant bonfire. We put out an invite. I got one of my friends to be a DJ. We just had a crap ton of people, and it got to a point where cops showed up, and we're like,
strangers started showing up.
Yeah, exactly.
People just started like following the ruckus, and we lived in the middle of nowhere. Like it was basically woods.
Yeah.
So people were just like
showing
up.
I'm pretty sure that we were the only house on that street that actually had people living in it,
I think
and it was just
at
all
least within,
cars.
Like, eyesight.
Yeah.
People couldn't have just like driven through the area and seen a bunch of cars.
Yeah,
and
just
like, I'm gonna go
a whole bunch of cars, and it was just a ridiculous party.
So at that time, I didn't really understand how pallets work. Those wooden pallets. I thought that they were just kind of like whatever. Like Home Depot kept him outside. It's kind of like I just thought it was whatever. They didn't care about him. I didn't realize that they were like picked up and like actually another company owned them. Yeah. But yeah, we had a lot of pallets that got burned that night. It's kind of like, sorry, I didn't know.
Yeah, we had glass that was broken in there. We eventually had to like bury because we're like, oh, there's no way we're cleaning this up.
Yeah, no, it was just way too much.
Put it back in.
Broken tables, broken glass. But the thing I remember the most is that like these really drunk, rowdy, like beefy redneck guys showed up and they had to be kicked out because it was just becoming like super. Like they weren't there to like hang out.
Yeah, they got into my face and I was like, I don't know you. Yeah. This is my party. This is my house. Get the hell away.
It was like gonna go. Like if they had been there long enough, it would have gotten really ugly. Yeah. So yeah, I'm sure there's other parties. I've been to parties that have gotten ugly like that. Like I actually knew one of the guys who did the. I don't know if it was bum fights itself, but it was something like that. So it was like a really scummy crowd like that was really just pushing the limit way too far of like violence and vandalism and whatever you could think of. And I remember there was somebody like at one of their parties, somebody was getting into somebody's face and a guy took his motorcycle helmet out of his trunk and smashed the other guy.
Oh, shit.
Like our party didn't get to that level, but it could have gotten to that level if we didn't like start kicking people out and the cops didn't show up.
I just, I have my helmet for my motorcycle. I can't even imagine getting hit by one of those.
It was brutal. Oof. And anyways,
no,
we didn't start kicking people out. Did you see this the news story about that kid who threw the party in Australia and it became so out of control that it was like a news headline?
That's old. Like, that is old. Oh yeah.
So that's like the kind of shit where like if it had kept growing and kept getting out of hand, it would have been like chopper coverage.
Oh yeah. But yeah. So I'd say back to your topic, being roommates with somebody, and Mike and I, we would hang out all the time and shit like that. So like it was on a different thing. I wouldn't say a different thing, but that was probably the highest of the friendship. It was never, I never got to the point where people would be like, oh, I'm not home, just hang out, just go into the fridge. And that like I said, this is how it happened. Dave walks into my house and he puts his stuff down. It's like just before we're about to start the show, he puts his stuff down. And he's like, hi, I'm going to take a Coke. Sure, help yourself to a Coke.
I thought we were at that level. Pardon me. But I really wanted input from people on this too. Is like what kind of trouble did other people get into? I know there's
what trouble did people get into?
Just friend. I don't know.
No, it's not what kind of trouble you got into, but like
I feel like the more I talk, the more I incriminate myself. Home Depot is like, who's this guy?
Well, what
store is missing a bunch of wooden?
But you don't want people to share bad stories about themselves. Yeah, but did you have friends that you were able to just like you go in and just be like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna walk into your house, no problem.
I feel like there's really very clear levels that could be set out. Like level 1 is like
a handshake.
No, never mind. I really gotta pee.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and probably do a brief intermission really quick, so we can use the little girl's room. So we will be right back. All right, and we are back.
All right, much better, much better.
We just had to use the little girl's room.
Yes, sir.
All right, so yeah, Rocktism. Yeah, I'll have a joint birthday with you. It doesn't matter how far apart our birthdays are. We'll have a joint birthday across the border.
Oh, that's not what he said. He said he wished he had a joint for his birthday.
Oh, you wish I had a joint for your birthday? Well, I can't help you.
Yeah, no. Currently, if we're working, can't help you. But if it was legal, I mean, that's not stopping most people, right? Like, people drink without really a big fuss about it. So it'd probably be the same way. Give it a couple years after it's legal, and it'll just kind of be like chill. Whatever.
Yeah, it's I think we just passed the whole medical.
Yeah, that's always the first step for Florida.
And then it's gonna be recreational. I don't know, soonish.
Yeah,
it's kind of like that blizzard soon.
I feel like every time I tell people I've been to Amsterdam, they're like, "Tell me your weed stories." It's like, I was just there. I just visited.
I just hung out.
Yeah, it was weird though. Amsterdam is really weird. The tour guides, they tell you like the first thing that you should know about Amsterdam is if it doesn't hurt anybody and it makes money, it's legal. So it's kind of like
Jesus.
I mean, obviously they're giving me the tour guide version, but like, it was so surreal to see people like picking up hookers on their lunch breaks, like totally legal. And I was like, what does that do to a relationship? You know, like, is he married or has a girlfriend? And it's just like,
they're looking too into it.
Yeah, I banged a girl after lunch, not a big deal. And she's like, yeah, I banged a guy after lunch too. It's yeah. You know what I mean? What is the time once it becomes a tradition? It's not weird anymore. Does it make sense? Like once it's been legal for 50 years or even 20 years. So yeah, I think we'll be the same way. They probably still test you if you like drive a forklift or something. It'll be like being drunk at work or being high at work. You know. I always thought losing your job for being high was like the dumbest. I'm not saying it's dumb for companies to do that. I'm saying, what are you thinking? Like, why would you do that?
Right.
Like, do you like
show up to work high?
Yeah, it's like. You know, we're all dealing with life in our own ways, but do you really not want your job that much?
I had some coworkers that one of my previous jobs that they would go out into the parking lot
or in this bathroom of the work if they really want their job.
That was one thing. Like when my last employer, we worked on this office building, people were going into the stairwell to smoke weed, and I was like, "How old are we?"
But also, people don't realize if you're into like weed and weed culture, you don't realize how distinctive the smell of weed is.
Right.
Like I can have a car go by me like 10 feet away and be like, that guy's smoking weed. Like, I can tell right away.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they think that people are just gonna be like, oh no, I'll just tell him I was smoking a cigarette. Yeah, no one's gonna buy that, dude.
I
know what a closed cigarette smells like.
I'm gonna chew on some gum.
Yeah.
And nobody's gonna be able to tell. You can't tell, man.
I always thought it was so funny. Like the people that I'm referring to, the two guys that lost their job, were actually good at their job. It's like, why do you do that? Like, I heard somebody the other day do like an under their breath, like, you fucking bitch. Like, I just looked at him like, do you want to just quit now? Like, isn't it easier to just like go, if you don't want this job that much, just go get another job.
So I feel like
you really want the big like explosion before that?
I feel like this is going to transition us into the, have you tried DMT?
Oh, God. No, I haven't.
No. Yeah, no. And
honestly, I've never... Being in a band all those years, being in like, I had an older brother, so I always had exposure to like, you know, things ahead of time.
Right.
Like,
I just hung out with the wrong crowd. That was
the bad crowd. My brother's crowd was worse than my crowd.
Yeah.
But at school, the lunch crowd was kind of a bad crowd too. So you kind of like, I've never even seen, other than when the DARE officer came in and was like, "This is crack, don't do it. This is
you
cocaine, don't do it." I've never
you had a DARE officer actually bring it in. I never had that.
It must have been a picture because you're right. I don't think he would have brought.
I don't think they would have brought in actual drugs into a school campus. No, that makes no damn sense.
That'd be funny. But I did. Full confession though, I did do mushrooms once.
Yeah,
it was fun.
You're an awful person. Get out. Get out of my house. Go. Get.
More I incriminate myself. But if weed was legal, I'd probably do it.
Exactly, Joe. That's the same thing. You know, driving around downtown Orlando, or just, you know, I drive and stuff like where I'm at mostly. You just smell like they'll be driving with the windows down. To them, it's kind of like those commercials, the nose blind commercials. That's like, oh, you may not smell it, but
will always smell like it forever.
Exactly.
Like you'll buy a car and be like, the former owner of this car smoked weed.
Right.
Like,
and yeah, absolutely. And, you know,
which makes the fact that it's legal so ridiculous, because it's been an open secret for like 40 years. Like everybody in food service smokes, everybody in hotel industry smokes. It's like, are we really gonna make this open secret?
No, forever? Joe. If you're talking about that, I didn't. That was the other person, And
the school bus?
Yeah. That was the other person. I'm not gonna say a name, but he had blown the smoke. So we were sitting in the back of the bus, and he had
That's where the real shit happens.
blown the smoke underneath the seat, so it came in front of him. And yeah, the bus driver seriously it reacted immediately.
Yeah,
that's
hardcore.
There was another one. There was another. I think it was a substitute bus driver that we had. She stopped the bus in the middle of the road because she swore that she smelt a lighter. Not cigarette, not weed. She said that she smelt a lighter.
As ridiculous as I think it would be that she could actually smell a lighter from 6, 10, 20 feet away, I do see where she's coming from. It's like, I don't want to drive a bus full of kids on fire.
Right. And the thing is, we had the windows down and all that, and I didn't have any lighter. And she pointed me out. She was like, it was you.
I was that kid too. Who always got pointed out for things.
She said it was either me or the guy that was next to me. And I seriously opened up my book bag, dropped everything on the ground, said, "You find the lighter." And man, that was not good. No, I wasn't that bad that I did it in the school bus or anything like that. There was times that at the bathrooms, in one of the bathrooms of what used to be called the freshman campus.
Man, the school bus though was like, if something was going to go down, that was going to go down on the school bus. The first time I ever saw a vagina was on the school bus. All the bad kids at the back were like carrying on whatever, hooting and hollering, as they would say. And this girl, was her stop, and she's like getting off from them. She's like part of the crowd in the back. And like halfway down, she stops and moons the people in the back of the bus, like full pants, like all the way down. And she's literally right next to me. And I'm like, okay, I just saw my vagina.
Hello.
And my friend sitting next to me is like, I could have sworn you were reaching your hand out, like. So yeah, the school buses were like crazy shit.
Yeah, no.
I've seen people like full on get laid on the bus. I've seen like
you have some crazy shit that happened to you because
I'm from a small town. Oh no, in small towns people just go all the way. They just don't care.
Oh, what's
else going on?
Well, where that wasn't here.
That was Brevard County, Melbourne.
Okay, because I was saying I know where you went to high school.
Yeah,
but
I went to high school here in Orlando. Yes.
Yeah, exactly, and that high school was definitely known for some shit.
But the funny thing is that's not even the worst high school in Central Florida. I've seen high school games where like the football teams are playing, and every play, the bad high school. I don't even remember. I forget what it's called. I remember it if you said it. Was like sneaking like punches in on people and tackles and elbows. And
jeez!
It was like full on
dirty fighting.
Yeah, it was like full on mafia dirty fighting at like high schools.
And you're saying like you hung out with the bad crowd and stuff. Yeah. I remember like the first time pretty much.
It was the Slipknot kids. You mentioned like Slipknot. And
well, yeah.
I wasn't a Slipknot kid. I didn't dress all in black. I had a spiked dog collar and combat boots and a wallet chain. But yeah,
no,
it punk rock kid.
It wasn't even really them. Pretty much like the first like serious relationship that like I was in. It was like I don't know. I think I was like 18. That was like the first time that I got like real drunk and like real high.
Oh man, I was way younger than that. I had an older brother. Well, you had an older brother too, but your older brother's good though.
No. I don't have an older brother. I'm the oldest.
What?
I have an older sister.
Oh, I thought she was older than you.
No. My brother's younger than me.
Huh.
But yeah, but besides that, I had like experimented with it, but no, like that was the first time that I got real messed up, and I was vomiting all over the place.
I was like 14 or 15.
And that's
I'm saying small town.
Yeah. I guess that there's nothing to do over there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's nowhere to go. There's nothing to do. Yeah. I once had a friend pulled out of class because the police had footage of him peeing in the ball pool at a McDonald's the night before. They just literally like came in and took him out. It was like.
Brevard County, man.
Actually, that was Orange County.
Oh, that was Orange County?
But a lot of this stuff, like, did you ever have nachos at your school?
Yeah.
And they have, like, a little prepackaged thing of nacho cheese?
I don't think we had those.
With the nachos. Yeah. It depends on how they serve it.
It's kind of like what you get at the movie theaters.
Yeah, sometimes they go bleh, but sometimes it's like a carton.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of kids had, like, saved up the cartons of cheese, and then another school bus had, like, pulled up next to us at, like, a red light, and all the cheese cartons got open and smashed outside of their bus.
I do remember,
like 6 months later, that bus was growing, like, green mold all the way down the side of it.
Yeah, I think that our school bus was a not off. There were like the handful of people that were the problem,
right?
But there was always all the other school buses. I remember in middle school we had the windows down. and we were getting ready to leave, and somebody just hawked this like giant loogie just
Oh, man.
square across, landed in this poor girl's hair.
That's a skill,
and
I've never mastered it, not on purpose, anyways.
And it's just like, man, like thinking about it, is like, you know, I just feel bad, but that's just disgusting because you can't do anything at that point.
There's something about that sound that's just so awful. That sound when they're like getting one ready,
like that Ace Ventura.
Yeah, it's like they're calling it up from the depths of hell. It's like I know something hideous is about to happen. Actually, in music class, I sneezed really hard once, and this giant. I literally saw it in like slow motion. This giant snot ball left my nose and was like flying to the back of the girl sitting in front of me's head in slow motion, and I was like, no, and caught it. But then it's like you said, where do you go? What do you do? Like, there's no sink. You're not gonna wash a loogie out. So I was just like, on my hand onto my jeans, and I just like nobody saw that. Cool. I'm just gonna nonchalantly like wipe that in there. But so, I can't believe how fast I move. There's been times in life where like if you just react without thinking about it, you're like, I can't believe I caught that. Yeah. I can't believe I did that.
Jeez, no, yeah, that's ugh. But yeah, Joe, like, I understand why people will be afraid of you. So obviously Makoa Ko, he and I grew up together. He was a band nerd. I mean, I think the only thing that was probably people be afraid of you was you were taller than most of us in high school. So
I was pretty big in elementary school. I've pretty much been like this height from back then. So it's like at one age I was like the biggest kid, and then I just stayed that size.
Yeah.
Everybody else got bigger, but I got my magic card stolen on the school bus.
You got your magic card stolen on the school bus?
I had one card that was like worth $100, and it's been stolen and reclaimed like 3 or 4 times. It's like, I know who has it. I'm getting it back. They obviously don't have it.
Yeah.
And that poor card was like so beat up from being stolen and re-stolen that it was probably not worth $100 anymore. But God. At some point, I took all my magic cards and put them in a trash bag and gave them to my next door neighbor. And I was just like, here, this is your addiction now. I'm done.
I'm trying to think like what else like bad. I mean, other than I would break into places, not really break into places, but we would jump fences to go skateboarding. So there was
the skateboard kids were the worst. That's what I really got in trouble.
There was a elementary school not too far from. Well, it doesn't really matter. But there was an elementary school that had a real nice stair set, roof to roof gap, and like a whole bunch of stuff. Nice. That what we would do is all of us would meet up there. It was in a giant neighborhood that had everything. Like it didn't have like, it's not like, you know, some of these other neighborhoods that, you know, if you close them down because they have Publix, they have all these things. But it had a park, had a pool, had a whole bunch of stuff. It had the elementary school. So what we would do is one of our friends lived there. We would all drive together, go to the park, leave our car there, and skateboard over to the elementary school, jump the fence, and yeah, we would go and jump the fence and skateboard over there. Oh, we lost the camera.
Something's going on with this camera today.
There it goes.
Okay.
All right.
Anyways,
yeah. So we would jump the fence and we would do it, and there was probably only once that we got the security guard called on us and chased us down.
Man, the elementary school was like. First of all, it had a big property, and it had like a fort, like a playground set. So even when you were teens and you were like up to no good, you were like hanging out at the elementary school fort because that was the place to go. And we had like a fire extinguisher that we stole off of a boat, and we were just foaming up the entire field of white smoke at this elementary school. I want to say we were in the halls doing it too, but I think the halls were locked, so I might be misremembering that. But this one guy's fishing boat had like a fire extinguisher, a blowgun, and a fillet knife. And
what? For
like 12-year-old hooligans, that was like jackpot. Like we had that blowgun for years. We were like shooting thumbtacks out of it.
Oh, blowgun! You said blowgun, and for some reason in my head I thought torch.
Oh yeah, no. It was like
I was like, Oastbug, how are you doing tonight, friend?
We were so bad. You're talking about breaking in and skateboard kids. Man, we would break into abandoned houses and trash them, paint. Broken windows.
There was another time. There was an elementary school down by where my parents live, and we were skateboarding there one time. And one of the guys I was with ripped the door open, and when he ripped the door open, it was an alarm went off. And girl, you best believe we took off.
one time
self-incrimination. That is now the name of the.
Yeah, but we were 12 at the time. It's not, they wouldn't have charged us for anything anyway.
The statute of limitation has passed.
Yeah, but also, like I said, like, you would have just, got a slap on the wrist. Since I had an older brother, I got away with a lot of stuff because I saw him get caught and I saw how he got caught.
I was the older one, so.
We were like going from abandoned house to abandoned house and like breaking into them. Yeah. Just kind of like, just because we shouldn't. A lot of things we did just because we shouldn't, like sneaking out late at night. Trespassing.
I used to sneak out at night, and I thought that I was so clever until my parents told me. No, we knew. I'm like, what?
Oh, I've got some sneaking out stories, man.
Like I would seriously, like this is when I first got my driver's license, and like I would sneak out of the window, go pick up my girlfriend at the time, and we would go do hood rat things. Not really hood rat things. We would just go
smoke cigarettes.
No, oh, dude, yeah, right. She was the one that got me into clove cigarettes and Duran blacks and all that. Yeah, it was.
It's like smoking spices from your spice rack.
Well, now obviously I've done a pretty much a complete 180 from where I was before. Don't drink as much, quit smoking, and it's just like.
Yeah, I never really got it. Like, we smoked when we were kids because we weren't supposed to, but I never picked it up.
Yeah,
or any of that.
Yeah, you weren't like Mike and I when we would smoke pretty much a pack a day.
Yep.
But
dude, talking about sneaking out stories. So, the window of my room was like one of those jealousy windows. It has the two panes of glass, and you have to crank it, and it goes like this.
Oh yeah.
And then you slip out through the glass. My brother had snuck out of that window so many times that my parents glued it shut with like really strong glue, like that clear glue that comes in like a caulk gun. And it actually almost got me killed because our house burned down while everyone else was either not home or asleep, and I was in that room. So if the fire had got to that room,
you would have
had no exit.
Yeah.
It was pretty crazy.
Jeez.
But luckily somebody called, and when I went to answer the phone, when I opened the door to my room, there was like smoke from my head to the ceiling. So I was like, everybody wake up. It's time to get out. So anyways.
Well, that's why, Makokeo, I think your brother was the one who showed me how to pop the lock in the door from the garage to my parents, like into the house.
So, like I said, breaking in, that's all about the screwdriver action.
But no, it was breaking in, but it was to my own house. It was breaking into my own house because I had locked the door because instinctively my brother and I would leave through the garage. We would leave from the house to the garage and then out the garage door to go to.
You had like a garage.
We had the pin.
Exit door?
Yeah, we had the pin. And then I think my mom was usually home by the time we got home from school or whatever. But yeah, that one time we locked ourselves out and my mom was there. So we're like, shit, how do we get it? And I think that his brother, his younger brother, showed us how to pop it. And ever since then, I just kept, I know how to do it now. But now, I do pick locking as a little hobby here. I have multiple locks. I just pop. There's just
my grandpa did that, locksmithing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't do locksmithing, but I just like to see like all the locks that I have because I have a filing cabinet right there. I don't have the key to that, but I like to see. Okay, can I lock it? Can I unlock it? Cool.
I used to pick the lock at my front door. I thought that I had picked the lock with a twig, but actually what I had done was move the lock inside. So the doorknob was so old that you could just shake it like starting a fire with a stick, like, and the knob would slowly work its way sideways until the door was unlocked. What I thought that it was the twig that had done it, but it was the motion. But anyways,
it was a motion. Yeah, no, it's
I got so many stories about being a bad kid, dude.
Doing hood rat things.
Yeah.
No, I'm sure we could have a whole talk about that. But I mean, it sounds like mine was pretty tame compared to yours.
Yeah, no, I'm not kidding. First of all, drugs was like a huge problem when we moved out of there after our house burned down. Like people that we knew were like dying of drugs, and
oh jeez.
Not only that, but there was like a foster home not far, and you got there through the woods. So basically, the woods is where we already went to do things without adult supervision that we shouldn't be doing. So to have a home of like unsupervised, I think it was girls specifically. It was like a girls like home. Yeah. So these are like no parent, rebellious, unsupervised girls. But right next to the woods, it was bad news. It was really bad news. One of my friends when I was growing up he lost his virginity at like 14 or something crazy like that. And the craziest part is he was like do you want in on this? And I was like, I'm good, man. I'm 14. What is going on? Like, yeah, it was a rough side of town.
Sounds like it. Thank God I didn't grow up in Brevard County. Jeez.
Yeah, that's weird. It's like all old retired people and like really, really bad kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, like I said, you know, for me it was pretty tame. You know, not didn't really do much except for sneaking out at night so I could go hang out with my friends. And
I mean, there was like one movie theater and it was too far to get to. So there, like, even if you drive there now, there's nothing to do. Like at this age, there's like a hookah bar and that's it.
Ooh.
But even then, it's like I can't do hookah that long. It just feels like I'm. I don't know. It just feels like I'm gassing myself. I just start to feel really weird.
Yeah, you know, I think about, like, you know, I used to do hookah with Mike and just, you know, we would sit there for hours. It's like, ugh.
I can understand the like gathering culture. It's becoming kind of rare just to gather with people, like you said, just to get out of the house and be with people, especially strangers. Yeah. Like strangers who share common interests. If you're not like going to shows or going to bars, it's just not really happening.
Yeah.
That's why I like these video game bars. I was actually thinking we should go maybe host something at one of these video game bars.
Which I'm trying to think.
There's two that I know of at least.
A whole bunch. I mean, there's a couple of them. Mm-hmm. There's the one over by iDrive. There's
well, that's kind of like what our, you know, video thing is about. So kind of.
I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I don't want to do things like one night a week is enough. I don't want to do anything else.
Yeah, man, I barely get out of the house. I got my own music streaming. I got this. Come on, man. I don't want to leave the house.
At least you don't have kids yet.
No, oof, yeah, no, not yet.
Be the end. Ooh, how about that? Yeah, I can't do anything anymore.
Yeah.
You know what's weird? My dad didn't have any friends his whole life that I was alive.
Yeah.
There was nobody like calling, nobody hanging out.
That's like how I am now, and I have no kids.
No, but literally, like, it's so weird. He was an only child. He was like a shy guy, and my mom had like friends, and I could name them, but like. There was nobody. My dad didn't have any friends. Is that weird? Do your parents like go and like have friends? They just have each other.
Yeah.
That just seems so foreign. Yeah, not even one like good friend that you kept over the years.
No, I mean the problem is also we moved around a lot because the military.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's hard.
So
you might get like a Christmas card and that's it.
Yeah. I mean, there were people that we still kept in touch with, but you know, obviously they lived in different states, of different countries,
right?
Stuff like that. There was never a time that, you know, my parents ever called on somebody like, oh, let's hang out. Except for when we lived in California, there was Jonathan. Like I said, he was doing the Trogdor thing with me. His family was pretty much like my family. Like his mom was like pretty much an aunt to me. He was like pretty much my cousin.
My parents had kind of people like that.
And that was it. That we kind of like we kind of hung out. Yeah, Best Coast. We're the Beast Coast over here. You're the Best Coast.
I don't know what we are. Florida is like.
Well, we were talking
crazy thing.
We were talking about that. You know, the West Coast Ostbug and I, because he's in California. Mm-hmm. Is like, you know, West Coast, Best Coast, and, you know, East Coast, Beast Coast. And I was over at the dealership getting my car worked. There's a tow truck that literally pulls up next to me that says Beast Coast Towing. I'm like, no way. This can't be real.
I've had moments like that too. Actually, strangely enough, that ties back into my breaking into houses story. Me and my friend broke into a house, and I was like, we're going to get in trouble. We have to go. The mailman saw us, and we're like power walking down the street. And my buddy's like, you're worried about nothing. What is he going to do? Tell us we're going to hell? And then like 30 or 40 feet behind us, you hear, you're going to hell. And I was like, did that just happen? Like, what are the odds of that? It's like you're in a TV show sometimes. It's like the Truman Show.
Yeah, no, like Joe's over here saying that he can name two friends of his father's. Well, like, you know, I'm trying to think. Growing up, you know, my mom did have some coworkers that, at least I'm talking about from here on, because like I said, when I was living in California, Jonathan's family is pretty much like my family. I remember learning how to skateboard over at his house. Your parents
and their parents have been friends a long time. Is that basically what you're like getting at?
I believe so. I'm not sure how long they had been friends for, because I know that his dad was in the Marines as well as with my dad.
Gotcha.
That's we were stationed over there.
See, now when we started, I was like, hey, let's get into your family life.
But yeah, like that. Besides that, when we moved over here, my mom did have. My mom still does have some coworkers that we would get invited to shindigs and whatnot, but it was never my mom ever called somebody, oh, let's go out this weekend or something like that. It was never anything like that. Not and my dad my dad's pretty much like that. Well, it's pretty much like me as well.
Just has your own interests, and that's what
exactly.
Time goes.
If you put us on a island by ourselves, we would be completely fine. We don't need to have somebody else.
I kind of oscillate. Like I do get energized by being around people and conversing with them, but when I'm left on my own, I pretty much just like you said, to pursue your interests.
Yeah,
that's it. But it just seems weird that my parents had this like clique that I guess like high school, college age, they were really close, and all of our kids, their kids were like the same age, so we could have had the same kind of like relationship that you had. Yeah. But I guess geography didn't allow for it. But they actually had T-shirts made for their friend group, which I thought was weird. But my dad was never like, yeah, me and my friend, or like me and my best friend. My mom had one best friend she kept her whole life, and then it was like coworker friends. But I'm terrible at maintaining coworker friend relationships.
Yeah, no, coworker friend relationships. I think that.
Like when I leave the job, it's like, okay, I'll never see you again. See ya.
For me, I try to keep it separate. I don't want my personal life and my business life to be connected. To be connected.
I never list what my current job is on my Facebook. Yeah, like, I don't want to have to worry about what I'm saying.
But it's now it's like Joe. I've been friends with him since 1999, almost 20 years. I've been friends with you for almost 10 years. But other than that, it's just like, wait, has it 20 years?
Time 20 flies. Years. I can't. I'm just like, where have I been?
But like other than that, I don't really keep a whole lot of communication. Jonathan and I, he and I just so happened to reconnect on Facebook, and then now I have friends that I've made through Twitch. Mm-hmm. Osbug being one of them, Rocktism. And these are people that I would consider friends. Obviously, these are people that...
It's a little like an electronic friendship is a little more casual, and maybe our parents didn't really have access to that.
Oh, clearly they didn't have access to that. But these are friends that, if I wanted to talk to them, I could reach out to them. Sure. Obviously, I'm not going to call... I'm not going to reach out to Osbug, be like, hey, you know what? You want to come hang out this weekend? I'm
actually hanging out with an online friend tomorrow that we've never met.
Right, but that's because I'm sure they plan to be here in Florida for the time. It's not like it's not like I could just I'm not loaded right now that I'll be like, oh yeah, I'll be in San Diego for the weekend, and then I'll be back.
I'll stick my plane out there.
Exactly, right. I could be in San Diego in 4 hours, so just wait for me. It's nothing like that. But
crazy. Like, you know what? I could really go for steak from Jersey tonight for dinner. Do you want steak from Jersey tonight for dinner? Yeah, let's just hop in our.
Okay, you're not my friend. You're my better half. So don't even get me started.
Yeah, a lot of time does go to them for sure.
Yeah. No, it's like you and I we hang out now doing this stuff.
Sure.
We could definitely hang out outside of this,
sure,
but also we hadn't talked to each other in a few years. But still, we could get in touch, could talk to each other, be like, hey, you want to do this? Yeah, totally, let's do it, and then we just hang out, and it's fine.
It is nice living close enough to people to be able to bring it back up.
And it's like Kate, I see her every day, and I'm completely fine with it because it's like that's somebody that I enjoy hanging out with, but it's just like for me and having friends and stuff like that, it's weird. And I think that, like I said, me and my dad were kind of similar, where we are okay by ourselves.
Mm-hmm. I have this weird kind of like relationship with people where wherever I saw them last, that's kind of like what they still are to me. Like, I don't realize I haven't seen someone in 5 years. It's like, oh yeah, that guy, I love that guy. But like his life has gone on.
Let's think about.
He's like, I don't want to hang out with you.
Okay, let's think about it. So we started living together. I think I was still 21. 22 was my birthday. I think I stopped living together at 23. Uh-huh. We probably didn't talk to each other outside of the occasional Facebook.
Like, haha, good post.
Exactly.
Good meme.
Until
the bounce house.
Yeah, my ex and I started dating. Mm-hmm. Then when we started dating, you were obviously you were friends with her.
I think I was friends with you first, though.
Yeah, you were friends with me first, and then you were friends with her when she started hanging around the house and stuff like that when we were dating the first time around.
Yeah.
But
I know it's weird. It's like,
but when you saw her and I start dating again on Facebook, then you started. I think that you started talking to us more, and then we started planning. You know, there was the bounce house, there was the escape room.
Yeah, I see what you're saying though. When you have a couple, it's kind of like, let's do couple stuff.
Yeah, there are a few things here and there, but you know, then we stopped talking to each other.
Yeah, I'm terrible at maintaining friendships. Like,
yeah,
our mutual friend Andrew is like, he talks to people who he maintains these friendships. He reaches out, he makes phone calls, he makes dates to like hang out with people and like keep the friendship like going and fresh. And I'm like, I don't have the time. And he has a kid, so I'm like, I don't know, I don't understand how you do it, man. Yeah. Like, to me, they just stay. You know, it just stays perpetually immortal. Like, yeah, that's a cool guy. I could see him whenever I want.
Yeah.
Well, I maybe not, but like, I'm so bad about like. There's been one or two people that I would consider really cool guys that I've worked with, and it's like once I leave that job,
and like
we might share some memes and send some text messages. But happy birthday!
Yeah,
that's pretty much it.
Joe over here was saying that he won't add anybody on social media that he's currently working with, and that I feel like that's a good thing. I do the same thing. You know, I made the mistake of befriending a whole bunch of people at my last job, and just a whole bunch of them added them on Facebook and stuff. And then after a while, I got kind of sick of it because I didn't want to see their posts. And then I deleted all of them. I just completely removed all of them from my Facebook. And then all of a sudden, like, oh, did I make you mad? Did I offend you? But it's like, you know, after that, I was like, you know what? I probably have one person from my old job.
You don't really have much interest in Facebook in general,
right? That's true. But I have one person that I'm friends with from my old job, and he was the only one that I kept. And then this new job well, I mean, I've been at this job now for like 6 months. I don't tell anybody where to find me on social media, you know. But my manager, who he just left for another job, he's probably the only person. I was telling Kate about it, like, of all the people that I work with at my current job, he's probably the only person that would add to social media because he has similar interests as me, video games, music, stuff like that. Sure. He and we resonate on, like, you know, more than just, you know, a work thing.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I'm kind of torn too because, first of all, everybody wants to add everybody, but it's like, you know, the only thing that we have in common is this job, right? Like, but even worse than that, I have this like extended family tree because I have a very unusual last name. And everyone in the world is kind of like trying to track down other people with that last name. So I get all these invites from Spanish speakers or you know, mostly Spanish speakers. And I'm kind of like, do I really want like 500 people I've never met on my friends list? Right, you know what I mean? It's like, it's bad enough that I have people like from the band times.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say.
Times I keep up with. And
that's what I say. From your band times, I was at something like 1,500 friends on Facebook because, you know, again, we talk to everybody. Right. You, me, and Mike, we talk to everybody.
I feel bad too because like some of them I did talk to and like maintain friendships with, and some of them I could see them on the street and be like, I do not remember your name, and I feel kind of guilty, but I feel like I should have probably separated myself more from the band. Like if the band had a Facebook and I talked to everybody through that, or the podcast or anything, you know, it's like that gives me a little bit more like privacy to decide who I want to keep myself personally in touch with, and then who the band wants.
I mean, I'm pretty good with names and faces, but like, you know, back in the band days, you know, shit, we met so many people.
Yeah, it's so fast too.
And you know, just added them all on Facebook, MySpace, stuff like that. It's like, you know, I still see some of those people going around downtown Orlando, and they kind of give me that look like,
yeah, we should.
I know you.
Talk, yeah.
I know you. And it's like
I still run into people too. I ran into Dorsa not long ago.
Yeah, well, Dorsa's one guy who she sees me and she's like, "Oh my God, Robbi!" Like, you know, she's not gonna forget who the hell I am.
Yeah. It's funny too because I like if I ran into her the one day that I went out in a month or in 2 months, then I'm kind of like, man, she's still going out and living life. I could do that. I should do that.
Well, yeah, and obviously she was friends with my ex, and she would whenever we would go out, I guess she was working at one of the venues. She was one of the bar back or one of the bartenders. It's like when we would always run into her whenever we like me and my ex, we would go to a concert, and she was like, "Oh my God, it's nice to see you." Nice. But it's like, you know, she's one that's like, you know, obviously because the joke was that her and I look alike. That you know
just that Mediterranean like olive.
I am not Mediterranean.
I'm just saying the look.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you said, you get the free tan that you didn't have to work for.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And that was the thing. So like her and I, we hung out and stuff like that. But you know, outside of that, you know, there's people that like were her friends. You know, my ex's friends. That I've ran into them downtown Orlando. They look at me like, "It's you." No, it's not. It's not like it's you. It's like I know you. And then when it hits them, like who I am, they kind of have that moment, like. And then the phone comes out. Did you see? You want to know who I just saw downtown or something like that? Please.
Yeah, I get stopped by people sometimes at my job that'll be like, "Don't you play music?" And it's very rare, but all those people. That's the problem with like trying to take off with music in a transient college town is because like half the people who knew us were here for college, now they're gone. So it's kind of like,
oh yeah,
that was like a constant issue. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. That's not one of many reasons it was going on. But I feel like I had a point, but I missed it.
And the train went. Yeah, it's left the station. What time is it? It's 11:20 p.m.
You feeling it?
I guess we should wrap up because you know it's been a good 2 hours, 2 hours and 18 minutes. Unless you got something you want to talk about.
No, I'm tired all of a sudden.
We got a
couple videos coming out.
We got a couple videos coming out soon. Hopefully, our first of the video game sommelier. Video game sommelier. So I can't really pronounce it. I'm trying to pronounce it poorly.
I always say sommelier, but I think you say sommelier.
I'm trying to pronounce it poorly.
Yeah, I don't know where the
video game sommelier.
I'm gonna stick with sommelier, but
sommelier. Exactly. Like we got our first video game sommelier. We just filmed. We're trying to edit it. I want it to
look good. Like it's not enough to just like shoot it and edit it. We like really have to kind of make it a good video. Yeah, our first video. Yeah, you know, we don't know a whole lot about video editing or shooting or photography, so we're gonna kind of like.
Yeah, I mean, clearly the camera's been flipping out today.
Yeah.
So so we got that. Then we also have another video in the works that I need to finish filming the second half of it, but I think that will. Get it good, and then tomorrow. Next week we'll be back on. Hopefully next Thursday. This Thursday was a little weird because we got invited to a different. Kate and I got invited to an event. So,
we'll plan for Thursday, but we'll see how it goes.
Sommelier. Get the hell out of here! You did not just say that. So
I don't even say that.
I'm gonna need a new co-host.
I've never said the word yeet.
I'll be posting a ad in Craigslist pretty soon. But yeah. So we'll be on next week.
Yeah,
this will be uploaded.
Eggs, more Fortnite.
Yeah.
You can tell we're done when we can't talk.
Exactly. I got a headache too, man.
Yeah.
But yes. All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you.
Hope to see you guys next week.